Futures back to the upside here this morning as we get going into another very important, or could be very important week here for the market. More mega cap tech earnings to come. We'll hear from the likes of Alphabet coming up this week, Amazon as well. Palantir after the close tonight. Closely watched stock. We'll talk about that coming up. So far this morning, futures, though, looking pretty good on the back of a little bit of cautious optimism here, dare I say. That is a bit of a reversal coming from what we saw early on this morning. Everything was downside, metals downside, especially gold, silver selling off here, Bitcoin tumbling obviously over the weekend below 80,000 here. We are trying to bounce this one as well. Oracle, barely, this is a 15-minute chart, barely a red candle on this chart so far this morning, straight to the upside on a big debt raise that is maybe shoring up the sentiment here about Oracle.
Certainly.
One of the things they were worried about, or the market seemed to be worried about with Oracle, was how they were going to fund all these things and the debt, the amount of debt that they were going to raise to facilitate all the things that they were talking about. Also, remember, non-farm payrolls end of the week. That's going to be really, really key on the back of the Fed that we saw with, you know, the optimistic hold, I guess, was the way we took that decision from the Fed. But if this comes out on Friday and we see, you know, finally a little bit of cracks under the hood in the jobs market, narrative could change again.
Yeah, the narrative continues to be low higher, low fire, sort of an equilibrium in the middle. It's kind of good news for now. The economy does continue to grow. The wild card, Brendo, is this Kevin Warsh appointment. It seems to be pulling the market in two different directions. There's his history of what he's fought, you know, from an ideological sense. Small balance sheet, you know, restrictive policy. And then, you know, you look at the appointment, well, President Trump has made it very, very clear he wants rate lower, but so how does that kind of jive with Kevin Warsh's kind of philosophy and his historical decision making? Yeah. So the market's kind of in a wait and see. I'm not sure if he's scheduled to speak anytime this week or soon, but I think the market's really going to be looking for clarity from him about how he wants to go forward. Separately, there's a whole bunch of stuff moving here, not the least of which is Nat Gas. 17.25%. UNG is getting clipped. I guess we're on the other side of this cold spell. Maybe not this side of the border, but maybe south of the border. And then, as you mentioned, Oracle, big, and Unity as well. Yeah, close it in on 10%, up over 8.
Yeah, nice look for you this morning. Nvidia, disregard this candle. There's deep prints coming through right now. Everything's looking pretty wild at the moment. Nvidia to the downside here. Questions regarding their tie-up with OpenAI, whether it will or maybe it won't at this point actually happen and actually transpire. So Nvidia downside a little bit here, but as I said, all of these things trying to get back to the upside currently. AMD looking about the same right now, still in negative territory here. We'll hear from AMD tomorrow. As far as, you know, the semiconductor argument goes, going to be an important report as well.
Oh, no question about it. I want to hear more about China. We've been like another on again, off again situation today with Nvidia and China. But what I'd like to hear is the MI455, which is that China-specific chip, going to have the kind of audience that the H200 has. We've heard about, you know, 400,000 confirmed orders. Some were reporting 2 million. We heard very little about AMD's China revenue, so I'll be all ears for that.
The initial headlines, meanwhile, on the metals side of things that I saw anyways, or the narrative this morning was very negative once again. Looking anyways, when we opened down here this morning, this is SLV, like this sell-off from Friday was just going to continue. But here we are trying to bounce right back to basically where this thing closed on Friday, around 76 bucks, still down significantly off the highs, along with gold this morning, along with Bitcoin, as I said, back below 80,000. We'll touch on some of the BTC-related stocks. It's worth noting, yields all downside this morning. The dollar coming off a little bit once again. So, I mean, it looks to be a little bit of a wait and see here, I guess, ahead of more economic data later in the week.
Yeah, that's what it kind of feels like, Brendo. And we saw the inverse correlation between gold and the dollar. So if gold, what's gold down now? Well, GLD anyways down 2%, likewise with SLV. So I expect a decent day for the US dollar, but you never really know how these ones, they could recover by the end of the day.
The one thing that's kind of interesting here is coming on the back of the first batch of, you know, mega cap tech earnings last week. Here we are, the market kind of still in the same spot here, really just kind of chopping around. I mean, we were hoping that that was going to provide a little bit more certainty. Maybe by the end of this week, we see a little bit more. It's hard to tell.
And like the chip trade is back in focus again. Like 9 articles that I reviewed this morning said AI chip trade or AI chip build out back in, or concerns about it. And you know, I feel like we alleviate that every couple of weeks. Like a Taiwan semi comes out, says we're going to spend through the roof. We can't meet demand. ASML can't build these things quick enough. And then we get a minor headline that reignites this whole concern. And here we are again, mostly negative.
Absolutely jam-packed week on the earnings calendar. Once again, we'll be with you Monday through Thursday, essentially every single night, talking you through what's happening as far as earnings as they come out. Again, Palantir tonight, AMD tomorrow. We'll get Google, we'll get Amazon. Going to be absolutely jam-packed week. So very important for the overall market, guys. Happy Monday.
Yeah, happy Monday. Welcome, everybody. 20% of the S&Ps reports this week. So this is the big one, obviously. And what I like about it is it's like nice and spaced out. Like instead of, don't pile them all into one day as far as the ones we're going to watch. It's like we can focus on Palantir today. We can focus on AMD tomorrow after the close, and throughout the week, Amazon, Alphabet as well. But over the weekend,
should be a good one.
Bitcoin did it. Like Bitcoin finally went down into that prior breakout level, right? Like all the chatter, I mean, I've been waiting for this to get down in that low mid 70s for a while, and it looks like, you know, we had that moment. You can say, everyone can sort of speculate as to how this all started, but let's be real. Everything started to go with the whoosh. Once a pick got made, you had gold and silver, and then Bitcoin over the weekend. But what's crazy is, and I heard your reaction, is UNG. Like UNG's also double digits. So when you have natural gas moving as well, oil pulled back significantly because there's potentially progress on talks with Iran. So yeah, there's a lot going on going into today. And on top of that, Disney reported earnings this morning, if anybody cares.
Yeah, nobody does. Went up a little bit, I think, Disney there. I was watching. So right now we're just going through all these prints right now on silver, back to 74.50. So we'll have to wait to see, man. We had a big trade there on Friday. We'll see if we can do it again today. But I'm looking for shorting around $80. We'll see if we can get up there. 75 right now for SLV. And yeah, you mentioned Disney. So here we go. Let's see. Quick little look there. It got up to like 115, 116, I thought. Yeah, on that report. And then right back down in as their major revenue source, again, theme parks. So not the streaming, obviously, the theme park business. But yeah, that's going to the downside. We'll wait to see how good consumers look. And then SNDK, like we're not even talking about SNDK. And of course, that was up 25% on Friday and then gave it all back. And still wound up, I believe, slightly up on the day. But we got into 530. That's a nice little rip today, back up to 595. But there you go. You fall back down there into 575. I don't know, man. The market was actually doing quite well early. Then we just had a little bit of a drop down. Now we're trying to battle back. So, yeah, I mean, ahead of all these earnings, it has not been a great earnings season really so far. I think it was like last year it was 81 or 82% beats. We're in the 70s for this year, but a major announcements coming this week. So there's the Nasdaq right now trying to battle back. But, yeah, gold as well, silver, everything, not gas. As you mentioned, Neil, it's going to be quite a wild ride here today, but we have Michael Noss coming through. It should be a good look for him as well. But yeah, I like the Oracle play too today. Yeah. I think it's gone down way too far, way too fast.
Finally finding a bottom.
You know, is there going to be enough money? Yeah, I mean, look at the chart. Actually, it looks pretty good. Neil has
5 points so far today. Just held $60. What's cool about the level? Well, I mean, it hasn't been cool for a while, the stock. No, but what's interesting about the level down here is you go all the way back to when it looks like it was making this little rounded bottom, support there, off the 150. That's effectively where we're bouncing right now. Not a red candle in sight for Oracle on the 15 this morning, blasting higher. And ultimately there's all this concern about them raising debt, and they basically got their bonds reaffirmed, and it looks pretty good. I like the bottom that's here technically, but I want to see the market open on this one. And if it can hold on to this 170 level, it's going to look pretty spicy. But yeah, there's going to be a lot to look at this week. And as you said, like we weren't really mentioning, like off the bat, that SNDK, and then you look at some of the other names within the group. Like it got lost in the sauce because of what was going on with the metals. That you had a 10% pullback intraday in Micron. You know, like that's not nothing. And like you said, SNDK was a pretty big round trip as well. And it looks like Tesla's not the only stock that cares about 420, because Micron double bottom Wednesday and Thursday at 420, and then this pre-market 420 top. So I think we got a key level here on Micron if it can't seem to hold on to that. Memory chips as well, finding a bit of a top. Parabolic moves all around. Sometimes you have to have these kinds of dips, and it seemed like Friday was just one of those risk-off type of days where just about everything was falling with the exception of, volatility.
Yeah, we have, it doesn't even seems worse than it is. ES is only down 0.4 right now. The Nasdaq's only down 0.7. We've had roller coaster rides of 1-2% during the day alone. So ES right now seems to be fine to me. We'll have to hold obviously VWAP here this morning. So at 6,900, we cracked 7,000. We've talked about the where this Nasdaq and where ES has been going. It seems a lot worse when you look at certain individual stocks, like a Palantir that's gotten hit pretty good. But tonight, as Brendan mentioned, we're going to be live tonight. I don't know what time Palantir reports. They're like pretty much the biggest one tonight. So we'll see. Hopefully just after 4 o'clock, we'll give those to you live. Then we'll look at the names that are reporting around this. But Palantir had it's not actually down. See, there it is. I was going to say there's too many prints coming through right now on the dark pools. But Palantir was down to 146, made its way back up to 150 here today, now hovering around 149.50. So just ahead of earnings with no major news catalysts that I could find. Palantir up. It's not down 3%. I don't know there's for some reason there's just a lot of prints coming through right now. I don't even know what's going on with our servers right here, but it's not like a dark pool dump time. But there's a lot of obviously mistakes happening here. So we're at 149.50 right now for Palantir, up about 1.5%. So we'll see if they can wind up holding fort. And then, yeah, Nvidia is another name that we always look at. 188, 1888888 right there we just saw. So, another name that's been holding its bid for a minute, right? So we'll see if all these names can keep the tide to the upside. So let us know what you guys want to trade here today. I don't think there's anything wrong with looking at IBIT or silver or Palantir on days like today where there's actually something going on. I mean, what a disaster crypto's been for the last 8 months or so, like just almost pointing straight to the downside. And now you're going to see, a big time continuation here today. And you're starting to tick into this new zone for IBIT as we're trying to break below, 77-ish thousand there for Bitcoin with Kevin Warsh appointed Fed chair, hopefully going to get confirmed and everything. And yeah, we're going to wait to see, as we mentioned, the balance sheet and everything with Kevin. And I'm not sure if that means anything for crypto, but crypto definitely not following by the way of silver and gold on the way up, but it does seem like it wants to follow it on the way down. So not a great sign here for BTC, right at some nice sort of inflection points here. So yeah, it should be really interesting. This goes all the way back. President Trump was November of 24, right? So yeah, we're right back to where we were when we had the election for crypto. So not a great year, obviously, for this. So yeah, there it goes right back down in. But whatever, ups and downs, right? I mean, if you bought it a year ago today, you're down. But if you bought it back in last November, there, you're kind of flat. And so we'll wait to see. I mean, everyone's holding crypto. And I don't think anyone's really trading in and out of it as far as an investment. No, some people.
Michael Saylor ain't.
Trading vehicle. Yeah, I don't. I know that there's that number, like, if it ever gets into the 67 or 72,000, but it doesn't matter. They're not liquidating.
They're not liquidating.
They can financial engineer that position, man. Well, they can raise cash against it.
He's not. Based on at least all the stuff that I see online, he's not even out of the money, right? I think it was like 73 or 74.
Even if they are, though, it wouldn't make liquidate.
It's psychological. It's a psychological thing if he goes underneath. But I think too much weight gets put on Michael Saylor as if somehow he is Bitcoin or MicroStrategy is Bitcoin. The other story that we didn't mention, but if you're looking at, I don't know, critical metals, USAR or MP, is the talk of this potential stockpile. I think it's being called a reserve for the U.S. government in critical metals, starting with potential 12 billion. So you'll see CRML is going to be up, and interestingly enough, when I look at the visualizer, everybody, it's USAR that the group seems to like a little bit better. There's Micron number one. Interesting. Okay. Good morning. Micron number one. See, now Oracle I'd expect. Palantir as earnings. Silver, obviously. Trade desk, what I've expected you guys to be interested in the trade desk. There's a few people in there. So remember, if you're seeing this and you're like, what the heck is that? Then you have to jump into the chat. And if you're in the chat and you type, say, $, I don't know. I'm just going to do Intel because probably no one has today. $, Intel into the chat, and I see people putting Micron, Robinhood. You'll see those start to drop down, and then the most popular names get to the top, and then we tend to try to cover what's near the top of the list. And Micron is holding forward. Did I type Intel or INTC? Someone else typed Intel. I actually did INTC, so just $, and then the ticker for sure. Yeah, there's Tesla, and Micron keeps on getting more love, which is interesting. Like I said, Micron had a 10% drawback from the highs on Friday. Pretty big day of movement, which got overshadowed by pretty much everything else that was going on, and mostly in the metal space, for sure. But yeah, should be an interesting one. And the other thing we didn't talk about there, Sharif, is it's the beginning of the month. So you got Chinese EV deliveries. Not so good if you're XPeng, though.
Yeah, I didn't have a look at XPeng yet. I will in a second, Neil. These deliveries are definitely going to be important to see if the Chinese tailwind there is still, they're still benefiting from the subsidies. China. But Brendo, you know what I saw this morning? Now, it's not confirmed, of course, but Ford pushing back against reports that they're trying to tie up an agreement here with Xiaomi. Now, I don't know if you remember, Ford CEO.
Yeah.
Remember when he basically went on a podcast and said, "Hey, my daily driver, being the the CEO of Ford, is a Xiaomi SU7. I like it so much, I had to import this thing, pay the 100% tariffs that come along with it." No, but his point was clearly that we're behind, we need to catch up. And then there was a headline today that said something to that effect. Again, Ford is denying the claims that they're in talks as a potential partner here with Xiaomi. They called it completely false. Xiaomi didn't respond for comment, but something to keep an eye on.
Something tells me Daddy Trump would also deny that very, very quickly if they ever went down that road. But let's talk Oracle here. A lot of people still wondering what the hell is going on here. Oracle up to 175. Nice move in the pre-market here. We actually gapped down significantly around 157, 156 early on this morning. Straight higher since on this. Plans to raise 45 to 50 billion in 2026 through balanced equity or debt financing to fund cloud infrastructure growth. That was the big sticking point, if you remember, for Oracle going back to the end of last year. A lot of people saying, okay, this is a ton of debt with few, actual paying customers at this point. How the hell are they going to pay for this? Well,
the immediately, kind of what I look at here is why is the stock up 4, 5, 6% on debt raising? So to me, the market was looking at this, the report of them trying to expand their cloud and saying, I don't think that they have the ability to do it, at least not with the way that the current accounting is. So raising about 45 to 50 billion in the stock up over 5% may mean that the market is more, calm about how they're going to be able to do this. But apparently, it's going to be a mix of debt and equity. It's not just going to be one. The capital is earmarked, as we've always been talking about, for their contracted cloud demand and the RPO, that huge RPO that they keep reporting. Hyperscalers continue to accelerate. Global data centers hitting $61 billion in 2025. Just keeping an eye out here for any other comments. And the layoffs. TD Cowen analyst noted Oracle may consider 20 to 30,000 layoffs to free up capital, which would make sense if they're, kind of clogged up financially. That's one way we've seen Amazon do it as well.
Yeah, who, by the way, we'll hear from later in the week. Just checking here. Even with today's gap, guys, Oracle's still in a 50% drawdown off all-time highs.
Yeah, it might even be more than that. What is? It's 173. Yeah, it's almost exactly 50%.
Pretty much, exactly. I mean, it was worse, obviously, on Friday. And it's worse if you looked at it in the pre-market. But no, it obviously hasn't been good for Oracle. And sort of what I was saying earlier about where it's trying to bounce, it's better shown on a weekly chart, because then you can get a sense of when it started going a little bit more parabolic to the upside, like structure, consolidated here, holding right around this 160 area. And if it's going to make a bounce, like, it would make a lot of sense this is a good spot. But then I was also telling you guys, like, I'd like to see 170 hold the open. I was just kind of looking at VWAP, but prior high is a little closer down to the 169. So almost like the 169 to 170 area. That's the key bounce zone today. I think the start of a temporary bottom can at least be in play for Oracle. It doesn't mean they're out of the woods, but in the same way that it's not like gold and silver we're going to go up forever without some kind of a big retracement. It's not like Oracle's going to go down forever without catching some kind of a bid. And maybe we'll be able to see if it's got any interesting options flow, although I suspect there's a host of other names that'll be of interest to Joe as we get our Monday options look.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, I forgot I had this. Oh, we'll take this one off here. All right, it's all right. We'll take it off. I forgot I had it on there. All right, guys. No Oracle today. We'll take a look at Oracle tomorrow. Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday. I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. Let's hop into the world of derivatives. Now, we're going to start things off with Tesla on Friday. All right, we seen that this name was continuing to climb a little bit higher. Obviously, some positive news coming out with Tesla. Potential merger. Now, at that 435 strike price, guys, once again expiring this Friday, we had some volume and open interest there. Nothing substantial. I'm going to think we're going to start to see these sizes slowly dwindle. Why? Because we're getting nearer dated expiration cycles. You can now get 0 and 2 DTE on some of the Mag 7s. So what I was looking at, you have the February expiration cycle that is going to be today, and February 2nd, February 4th, and February 6th. So every 2 days, you're gonna have OpX on some of these names, mostly the Mag 7. Now, as for volume, guys, 8,666, and open interest sitting around 5,120. Now, as for the bid and the ask, we're a little bit wide there, surprisingly so, $25. Delta relatively high as well too with your gamma exposure. Out to money IV 42.7%. But one thing that I wanted to note here, guys, once again, 86% loss of value within this contract in the span of a month. And I mean, if you go over to actual Tesla's chart, not down that much, right? So options writing, there's something there for sure in those further dated contracts, especially when the liquidity starts to step in. Moving on, guys, we're gonna get a double dose of silver here today. Volume around 45,300, and open interest, no, that is 241 contracts at that $80 strike price. We are down substantially from that. That is going to be expiring today. Now, as for the bid and the ask, guys, $2.25, $2.35, a $10 spread, delta 34 right there, and your gamma is around 0.038. At the money, IV once again is extremely high. If things do start to cool down, considering on Friday we had that 30% drop in the actual underlying, you might be able to sell some IV on that. Now, double dose of silver, what am I getting at here? This is going to be a put contract at that $70 mark. You can see we're trading almost at that specific zone there, guys. Now bumping back up to $73. But at that specific level, we have 23,300 contracts with open interest around 1,360. Bid and ask a $20 spread there. Now, as for your delta 0.265, I mean, it was out of the money, but you're getting closer, so you're going to see an increase in that right out of the gate, and then your gamma exposure relatively light. But the same thing with your at the money IV, 143.6%. Be cautious just in case the momentum to the downside continues. Now moving on to RGTI, taking a slide yesterday, guys. This put contract growing drastically in value, going from approximately 30 cents all the way up to $1.60, even a little bit more, or $5 almost there, guys. So that is a big time move in RGTI. $22 mark right there. Volume only 132 contracts, but open interest sitting around 2,920. Bid in the ask, guys, relatively wide, $35, which is expensive for a $22 name. Delta, considering it's so ITM, 0.905, so 90 delta right there, and then your gamma 0.068, and your at the money IB slightly increased with 89.4%, and we shall be back momentarily with some upgrades and downgrades.
Yeah,
Thanks, Joe. Yeah.
we don't really talk about the quant names enough.
I know. I was just looking at it myself. That's a big move down there on Rigetti.
Yeah, I'm gonna pay for locates.
Breaking through the 200 now.
It looks like a continuation.
Back to where it was in July.
Wow.
What is going on
Round
here?
trip. This is where it was when everything started to break out in September. Like the actual breakaway on Rigetti was right here, like $16.50. So you're 10% away from that. I kind of like this one for, like I said, I have to pay for locates here, but if looking at this short, I'm kind of thinking there's 18.5 support, resistance to potentially resistance today. So yeah, that's why we go over and look at the options, because suddenly you begin to realize that you're not necessarily, you can't watch everything, but if you have the right indicators and pay attention to watch the show and watch the community, you can certainly find opportunities out there that maybe didn't make your list. And I feel like this is one.
I mean, everybody can obviously do their own little song and dance here with options, but I think for Tesla, like, it's just in a pretty good drawdown right now, and we've gone through earnings. Well, we sort of know the pivot that the company's made by shutting down the plants and the production, keeping the plants open, but shutting down production for the S and the X, and that they're sort of switching over now, Robotaxi and Optimus Focus. What about playing longer dated calls now for Tesla? Because like, it's gonna be pretty choppy, I feel like it really hasn't done anything since September. So to try to make a call within the next couple of weeks that it's gonna go back up here or even back down is gonna be a difficult call to make, I feel like, unless you have some sort of insight. But I really like Tesla for a longer term look there. So maybe tomorrow we can get Joe around the midday or something to look at leaps or something like that for Tesla, because I think that, like, looking a year out or whatever the proper dating is on that, I think Tesla has a great opportunity here. Take advantage of sort of this down push in Tesla being down about, I mean, if we take 500 as its high, I know we sort of looked at that, down into 420. So you're down like 15% or so right now. I feel like there is going to be some value in trying to get something longer term for Tesla. I mean, because it's Tesla, it's going to be super expensive to play those games. But that's why we have Joe, and we can talk about options. And even people in the chat are very, very educated about that. So we'll definitely have a look at Tesla for the longer term. I think I like those plays better than the shorter term plays coming through. We have, Amazon, Google. It's going to be a good week of earnings for sure. Kicked off tonight with Palantir. We're going to join us every night at 4 p.m. and then we'll go until it gets a little slow. But Amazon right now down a little bit. Google's down a little bit today. Nasdaq's down. So Bitcoin's trying to get lower. I mean, it's trying to hold, but still lower, below that 80,000 finally. So I don't know. I think there's a few little sort of kinks or whatever in the armor here today, and we'll see what winds up happening for this week. I'm a little nervous for earnings, but this is why you don't trade around earnings. I think it's difficult for an investment portfolio to trade around earnings. Like Microsoft down 10, 12% that day. We didn't expect that. So if you bought that pre-earnings, you're probably fine in 6 months or 1 month,
or at least
5 days. But better to wait and have a read on what the market's going to do to your stock before you make that prediction, because even Meta was upside, and now Meta's back to 705 again or something today. I think it went to 7.
Apple was up.
Apple was, but remember,
it lost it, and then actually Apple had a really good rally on the afternoon on Friday, by the way. While we're at it, I know we'll throw it back over. I think we're going to have Michael coming on through at some point, but the entirety of the afternoon, Apple had a really good rally, with the exception of, I guess it was like a sell. Must have been like a sell imbalance. I guess the entire market was a sell imbalance. But this went like $7 from VWAP for the second half, and then kind of pulled back. It's red again today, but all these earnings names, It doesn't matter how good. It's weird, because it's like the numbers have been better than the reactions so far, so it makes you wonder what's going to happen as we get later on in the week. But then keep in mind, the other side of the equation is from the side of the spend that we're still seeing from the hyperscalers. Technically, you kind of are 2 for 2 with Meta and Microsoft continuously still spending. So that's supposed to be propping up some of the chip names in that side of the play. You might not have known it from Friday, but we'll get the chance to see how Alphabet and Amazon are going to be doing with regards to their spend. My guess, it'll be just like the others. Like, they're not slowing down, but that's just a guess. And that could be good. If you get that confirmation, that could be good for some of your energy names. Maybe your GE Renovas. We'll see. Again, I kind of look at that two ways when we talk about how much Meta was spending. It's like, okay, well, it's not necessarily seen to be the best thing for them, although the market didn't hate it because they're up 10%. But ultimately, it's still going to be good for the Nvidias of the world. Like it's hard to look at that 10 to 15% higher than expected capex spend and be negative-ish about Nvidia because of that. You wouldn't know it from Nvidia today, though. Nvidia just can't seem to catch the bid recently. It's a weird one. Somebody's accumulating the stock, yet it just doesn't want to go up. So like I kind of feel like the longer that this happens, probably the better. It's like it's coiling, just getting ready to take off. But it's 8:30 already. I don't think we have anything big in terms of economic data today, although I do believe, what time is it? It's like 10 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, we get some ISM, and then S&P manufacturing at 9:45, and then 10 o'clock. A little Fed speak as well today, but mostly clear until we get earnings after the bell. And it's not just Palantir. There's Simon Property Group also comes out at 4:05. Okay, like those are the two big ones at 4:05.
Yeah, I traded that Simon Property during COVID. I liked the dividend, and it was a good
I know you like that.
Yeah, I'm probably not still in it. If I am, pretty small. Yeah, AMD again off that 260. Just because you're talking about Nvidia, this one came into a perfect level if you were looking short, and that was just last week. So I still feel like if this can come back into 200, that's another dip buy zone, and you just play these ranges. The market's just a really funny thing, man. It's basically just moving. Like that whole Warsh thing really turned everything upside down on Friday, which really sent silver getting crushed, and it was starting to question a lot of these different assets. So, wow, SLV is, that wasn't just at 75. Yeah, I guess it was. So silver right now hitting the skids, man. I got it on the sticky note as a short. I don't know if any of these levels will hit though, because we're starting to come down. I was actually trying to look at something around $80 again, but that doesn't look like 78. 80. This is kind of the area now that I'm looking at. I may have to adjust the note. The note already has it written down as 80 short, but silver right now, yeah, what a wild ride there. I don't know if Michael's going to be talking about some of this, but we had silver and copper and gold and platinum. I mean, anything, any sort of a metal. You can look at the metals company. I mean, there's many different ETFs, different stocks that focus on all this. We had a good question about Barrick Gold on Friday as well. Not a question, but just what do we think about Barrick Gold? And, collecting a dividend or something and going for a miner might be a decent idea now as well. GDX, the gold miners instead of just gold by itself. But look at this 50-period moving average, right? I mean, we've been holding pretty good for a minute on that as well. So, all right, man, without any further ado, we've got Michael coming through, which is always exciting. We'll hear what he has to say. Oh my gosh, it's Michael's favorite time. Beginning of a new month.
That's exactly, new candle.
So he probably, didn't have too much of a social weekend. I know he looks at over 300 charts or something.
3,000.
He always likes
hundreds.
He'll probably give us maybe a closer to an exact number, but I know it's a busy time for Michael because he does like these charts. So let's throw it over. Brendan's got some discussions with our favorite, Michael Noss.
Yeah, we're going to go to the first part of what you guys were talking about there. Talk a little bit about silver, some of these metals, and what a move. I mean, Sharif and I were just discussing this move on Friday specifically for silver. Going back to 1980 even to find anything even remotely comparable to what happened on Friday. As I said when we came on at 8:30, we did see a little bit of a follow through igniting or starting to happen here this morning, but we are bouncing right now.
And you're seeing it in some of the margin positions here, Brendo. So the CMEs raised the margin requirements both for silver and gold. So we're trading, to the downside could be interesting. Gold futures margins increased to 8% from 6%. Likewise with silver up from 11 to 15. We saw this before with Bitcoin. Once Bitcoin starts becoming volatile, the margin requirements go up. The amount of money that they're willing to front you goes down. So that has a way of contracting liquidity, and that could tighten the price ranges a little bit. So definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, volatility off the chart. Let's bring in Michael Noss, get his take from a technical standpoint, what we need to know here as far as this trade is concerned. Good to see you as always, Michael.
Good to see you.
The narrative has been, if China has a forever bid on silver right now, technicals kind of get put in the back seat a little bit, or how are you dealing with that from a higher perspective here overall?
I try to ignore the narrative entirely because I always find the narrative is something kind of told after the fact, right? No one was talking about this China thing when silver was in a multi-year base, and now that it's broken out, that's what's interesting. And don't worry, I'll have monthly charts to you. We'll just do that on Friday. But yeah, I felt this was important to talk about because it was a huge move on silver. And a quick shout out to Caleb at Cubic Analytics, because I stole some of his charts. So if I steal charts, I want to quote them. So we're going to talk about what happened, when it happened in the past, and why I think it's happening now. And the story that I think is more important than, you know, a China bid or things like that. And the first is this is just a chart from yesterday. So if you take a look at the bottom pane, what that indicator is, it's the rate of change, but I just set the period to 1. So it's just showing you how much silver normally moves. And this is going all the way back till 2017. And I put the purple line at negative 15% to show you that it's got nowhere even near there, even in 2020, even in all of these crazy moves. And then you can see what happened on Friday, well beyond 20%, right? It was down 30 something at some point, bounced a little bit at the end of the day. And then I tried to go back, and this is why I had to go to my buddy Caleb and take his charts, because you have to go back to 1980 and 1987, like Brendo was talking about, to get anywhere near a move like this in silver. And what I wanted to do is anytime you see something like this, it's really beneficial to go into the past and say, okay, well, what happened? Were these, you know, short-term buying opportunities? Were they, you know, a reversal in a trend? Is this a good dip to buy? And with only 2 examples, I don't know if this tells us too much, but it's interesting to take a look at anyway. So this is the one from 1987, and you can see the red line right at that 20, I think it was like 20-ish% down move, more than 20% down anyway. And if you zoom real in over the next couple days or so, the next couple weeks, there was a little bit of a bounce there, but after that, it kind of fell apart kind of completely and, you know, retraced all the way back down. So sometimes these price shocks, again, can be playable. For us short-term traders, maybe we can take a look at dip buying or something like that, but you can see generally not. Didn't make a new all-time high, didn't get back up to those highs, and then started downtrend right after that. And then if you look at the next chart, this is 1987, where it did the same thing. And yes, again, a little bit of a bounce happened after that. However, all the way back down. Funny enough, I didn't bring the chart, but these 2 charts happen at the exact same price, 7 years apart. So this was kind of interesting that this was the area that silver had resistance at, right? The first one happened, you know, this is CFD, so you have to do some weird adjustments, but yeah, they happened around the same place on the chart. And then again, small little bounce, and then this one fell apart as well. So not a great, if you're a silver bull, not a great historical example, but there's only 2. This time could certainly be different, but most times it started to down move. Now, this is what I think is actually going on more than anything, is that if people remember back to 2020, there was, you know, everyone called the Tina trade, right? There is no other option. And that's why people bought stocks, is because there was nothing else that you could possibly get any sort of return into in a zero interest rate environment and all of that. In this case, if you look at what's happened in silver and gold since 2025, and then you look at this chart, and this chart is the dollar. So the DXY is the dollar compared to a whole bunch of other assets, the Canadian dollar, yen, euro, all of that. And you can see the dollar has been falling apart, and the dollar over the last couple of days, where silver really, really accelerated, not only fell apart, but broke that little support line that I drew there at about 96. So the dollar was accelerating lower. You know, people were jumping from the dollar into other assets. And it's important to note, silver and gold, they're priced in the dollar, and that's the main asset in which they're traded. So if the dollar gets cheaper, it makes sense that these other assets can get more expensive. I don't think it's a coincidence that the day that all of these fell apart, we had this big lift in the dollar, and not only a lift in the dollar, but back above this support zone. So for me, more than even looking at the silver and gold charts, I think that we have to pay attention and look at a dollar play. So this is about 96.50 is the support zone. So I think a pretty interesting rule of thumb that I'm going to look to trade this week is that if we continue to move up in the dollar, if we're above that 96.50, I think I want to potentially take tactical shorts on silver wherever I can. And if this just reverses and rolls over, and this was just a dead cat bounce, and we end up making new lows and breaking down in the dollar, then maybe we get that nice resurgence back in gold and silver. But the last quote that I want to leave you with is from Luis Yamada, who is one of the original CMTs and market technicians out there. And her quote was always, the bigger the damage, the longer it takes for repair. So if we are thinking silver is going to go back up and gold's going to go back up, that was a lot of damage. So if that saying holds true, that means potential long time it's going to take to repair.
If you look back, though, just, you know, if we remove silver from this equation and just look specifically at the technical aspect of this, a historical type, you know, move higher and then a historical type retracement of that move. As you said, you know, two examples here to go on just with silver specifically. But again, if you remove silver from that, can we make an argument that's a little bit, you know, more conclusive around the unwind continuing here just on a broad basis, you know, just maybe just on percentage of the actual move itself, first up and then down?
Yeah, I think so. If you were to take silver off it and you were just to put Bitcoin on it, which is one thing I did on the weekend, and you look at these parabolic moves that then crack, quite often they're just not bouncing right back up. Maybe that crack doesn't really continue lower. It could just be that we're in for some high volatility range for a long period of time. Eventually, in all cases thus far, Bitcoin has gone back up and made new all-time highs, but sometimes it's been many years since that's happened. So you could look at it with also, you know, your favorite kind of low float penny stock thing that just shoots up and gets super, super parabolic. And then after it does that first crack to kind of flush everyone out, that to me is more interesting. And I think it's a good sentiment thing. Imagine you've been shorting silver the whole way up and you've been having a really bad time. And then all of a sudden that's completely wiped out and now you're up money on the trade. I think it just emboldens the shorts a little bit more and it scares the longs a little bit more so that any rally back up is harder. And I think that's why that saying of, you know, the bigger the damage, the longer the need for repair, because there's a lot of people out there that if this thing starts to rally are now kind of bag holders in silver. So, you know, we're at 72 on SLV. There's probably a lot of people from 80 and 90 that if we start to get back up to that price, they're relieved after the panic day they had on Friday. And I think there's more people looking to sell than buy at this point.
All right, you mentioned the term tactical short on something like this. I think there's going to be a lot of people in that same mind frame and in that same, you know, mental state of approach going into not only today, but maybe this entire week. Just run through your concept there, run through, you know, what people need to see to really get, you know, a little bit more belief in that.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that all-time high as an exit, and any bounce into that all-time high, again, assuming the dollar is still holding up and being strong, I'm going to look to take shorts. And the way I'm going to do it personally, and it might not be perfect, so any bounce kind of into that range, I'm going to short. But I'm actually going to take, there's a ZSL, is a ultra short silver ETF. So this is just the same chart flipped on its head. I've already taken it. I took a trade in this on Friday. It worked out really well. The thing I like about this as opposed to shorting the asset itself is that this can only go to zero. So if I am sizing myself correctly, if I am completely wrong and say overnight there's some crazy move in silver that gets halted or whatever it is, this can only go to zero. And for me, that is a better way to play. It might not be the most profitable way to play, but I know at the very least I can't go completely under and it can't wipe out, you know, a whole life's work from anything like that. And when you're shorting an asset that's going up or down 30% in a day, you do have that danger of, you know, was it TCGL that went from $2 to 400 or something for no reason. Things can get wacky. Things can get crazy. So I like this as an asset. It's plenty liquid. It's double short. And again, you're buying it and you're just knowing that if this thing drops to $1 tomorrow, you're just sizing yourself that you're going to be okay.
Yeah, great concept overall. Great stuff. Michael Noss, have a good day today. Great week. Lots to look forward to this week. We'll speak again on Friday.
Talk to you Friday. Have a great week.
Fantastic stuff, as always, by Mr. Michael Noss. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of these analyst actions here this morning. At the top of the list here, we have Autodesk, ADSK, getting a substantial price increase from roughly around $255, to which we're currently trading at, to $319. You're up about 1% here this morning. That upgrade is going to be by JP Morgan, also going from a neutral weight to an overweight. Now we have Futu Holdings, guys, a name that we don't quite often talk about, but we're getting an increase in price, guys, going from a neutral to buy to $213. We're roughly trading around $116. That upgrade is going to be by Goldman. Now McDonald's also getting the nod, guys, going from a sector perform to sector outperform with a price target of around $360. BTIG research giving us that nod, up 1% here this morning. Now Shopify as well too, guys, going from a neutral to a buy. You're up about 1/3%, a little bit more in the pre-market session. Now as for some of the downgrades here, guys, we have Chevron going from a buy to a hold, with the price target being lowered to approximately $180. Now, HSBC Securities saying on that one, a 1.86%. We are down here this morning. Now, Best Buy as well, too, guys, getting the downgrade. You're down 1.6% here this morning, going from an overweight to a neutral, price target being lowered to $76. Now, Circle Internet Group as well, too, guys, initiating a sell by Morgan Stanley. You're down 2.25 there. Price target being lowered from, to $66 from $69. And SoFi as well, too, guys. Price target being lowered from $36 to $33 by Needham. You're down 1.3% this morning.
I feel like Joe was really excited about that the Chevron downgrade.
He liked the Chevron one.
It was the way in which it got said. I'm like, we're just hating on Chevron. But the one that actually stands out to a certain extent is going to be that Circle, because look, obviously by now everyone probably knows what went on with crypto over the weekend. I'm going to make the assumption that everyone does, and if you don't, Bitcoin got smashed, and so did ETH, and so did pretty much everything else. But Circle on Friday broke its all-time low. Now, it being an IPO, that just goes back to June of last year at 64, but it broke without a huge plunge. So it lost that 64, got a couple bucks further, and recovered right back into $64. Well, guess what? We're underneath. We're underneath that 64 as we speak. So upgrade, downgrade doesn't really matter in this particular case. I think that this is a continuation until proven otherwise, and there's really just the one level to look at, $64. Like, it showed you on Friday that there was resistance at that spot. So Circle is going to be on the mind, certainly, and it just goes into that list of, I suppose, IPOs. I almost said IPOs from this year. IPOs from last year, which have not been doing too well the last little bit. Even as the market was at the highs, a lot of these high-flying IPOs that were crazy in the middle of the year are really starting to come in or continue to come in. Circle, just another one at that $64 level. All-time lows made on Friday. Look for them to hold underneath that today.
Yeah, no, I was going to say this Autodesk is kind of interesting as well to me because, again, you know, software automation here, computer-aided design. It's just, you know, obviously getting hit by sort of the AI downtrend there and coming into a pretty good level. Autodesk has been great stock for a very, very long time, and it's coming into some bid zones. We get an upgrade. So we'll have to wait to see if ADSK can sort of catch a bid from these spots. But I kind of like this name in this area. Again, you know, we've seen Adobe and some of these major design names get hit. These guys are a little bit different. Here, they're computer-aided design. It should be, you know, engineering. Like, I don't love the stock, but when I was looking at it, I thought maybe we're at some key levels. So between 250 to 240 here for a little bit of a bottom there on ADSK. I'm not sure if they've reported or when that's coming due, but ADSK, a name to look at there. I'm trying to find out the calendar as I go here. They are confirmed the Feb 26th. So a little bit of time here for ADSK, February 26th. So yeah, a little upgrade. We'll see what happens there if you own this one in your portfolio. It's good to see that finally potentially catching a little bit of an upside play here. Just 7,000 shares, so nothing to worry about right now. But yeah, okay, that's some upgrades and downgrades. It's not all about those names today anyways. You know, we'll be figuring out what is going on with crypto, what is going on with silver and gold, and then some names, Oracle, flying around there, and Amazon, Google on watch this week, Palantir on watch tonight. AMD is gonna probably have a huge move today. I like the circle breakdown, of course. Gemini and some of those other names that have recently come to market. Coinbase has been really hit badly as well, and then MSTR just goes with the flow. So,
BMNR actually.
Oh, BMNR. Yeah.
While we're talking about those things, BMNR is also a flat bottom break as well. Like if you, this is not like an all-time low or anything like that, but effectively, yeah, it lost that 2024, 25 level, and it has, unlike Circle, it has way more room to go back up before it even gets back to the prior low. Like it could pop $1.50, so that's like it could pop 7% from here, and still be underneath that prior low. So even if there's like a relief rally today, like I could see a world where I don't know if I don't find the short in IBIT, like BMNR, even if we get a huge relief rally, I'm still going to be looking for a top on that somewhere. It is, as Michael said, like when you have hefty pullbacks, like on a day one, maybe it emboldens the shorts in like silver and gold. Well, the other side of it is when you've been trending down and you break down underneath the bottom, it's the same kind of thing. It also emboldens the shorts because hedgies are like, well, we're in the money, we can add, and that kind of thing. Believe me, they do. They don't just sit there. They're usually aggressive with these types of things. So yeah, there's lots to watch. Only 10 minutes until 9 o'clock. I know we're going to go through the rundown and everything. And I just want to remind everybody, and I'm not calling anybody out, it's just Juan Padilla. We know AMD is a mover and they report tomorrow. Just make sure you type $ in there as well. So $ZSL, $CVX. If you do that, it ends up showing up on our visualizer and we're able to just make sure we're talking about the names that you're interested in. I know that ZSL, and I know we didn't we mentioned this a couple of times on Friday, but I just want to remind everybody that right around or just before 1:30 on this, there was like a little bit of a flash crash where silver moved, like this pulled back about 15%, I want to say 15 to 20% in just a few minutes, in about 5 minutes, and silver moved a couple of points. So if you're not, so just to think that it's going to sit there trading on par, I think this one's a 2x. Let me just double check. I don't know if it doesn't really say, but it's ultra short. I believed it was 2x. It should be 2x, but that doesn't mean it's going to always hold that correlation exactly. And that can be an opportunity. It certainly was when it dropped in to VWAP here, and you didn't see SLV move. But just keep that in mind. I heard Michael mention talking about trading this, and if you happen to be trading it, just know that it did flash crash, and silver had barely moved when it did, and you can find yourself getting wiped out when fundamentally you're like, well, why is it moving anywhere? Silver didn't go. Well, if enough people get liquidated, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, and remember, it's just like a hedging instrument. Yeah. It's not meant to be held for long term. It's great to trade. It does, day trade. We saw billions of shares go through, obviously, last week on ZSL. So day trading, great, but don't try to buy and hold that thing over a year or whatever like that. It'll get, it will not act the same as the underlying, that's for sure. Palantir now above 150 again, starting to make a little bit of moves here, PLTR. I have it, the sticky note is out. I have this written down here as a long. It's the only long I have written down today is PLTR. So just sort of exciting to see how this is starting to go back to the upside right now. Nasdaq still down. This one's taking out highs ahead of earnings. So maybe potentially a little bit beat up, but there'll be some traders that will take this profit. Right, we had sort of talked about that last week about swinging this potentially long into today, and there it goes up to 150. So there you go, man. We talked about swinging it over the weekend. You're up 2.5% from the lows, though. Still a long way to go before this name gets back to where traders will be happy. But Palantir tonight should put up a good number. Auscarp is too smart of a guy, but who knows how this market's going to treat this. This high flyer, to be honest with you, with Palantir tonight. Probably, I'm not sure what the expected move is here, but it's probably double digits on PLTR tonight. So, all right, man, it's going to be a good one. Let's go back over to the desk, see what the boys are up to. And we're getting ready to rock and roll, man. Only a half hour now before this market opens.
Double checking here on Disney. The earnings call is on right now for Disney. I don't know, does anyone care about this? Mm-hmm. It's, top line beat, strong parks number, improving streaming profitability, lower EPS. The segment overall income specifically was down slightly, but We're back to session lows here, basically, for Disney right now after that, that initial move was higher in the pre-market here to 118. Right back through 110. Again, the earnings call on currently.
This was a good report for the most part. There were some issues, obviously, as there typically is with a big company like this, but really what stood out was the experiences. They're talking about domestic parks really bringing in more money. International parks, maybe not so much. Their cruise segment's doing really good as well, Brendo. They talked about their streaming. Streaming's picking up as well, 7% year over year. For the entertainment segment, when you look at streaming specifically, we're up 11% year over year now to $5.3 billion. Now they're stopping reporting their streaming subscriber numbers every quarter, much like Netflix. They'll give it to you sporadically when they feel like it or when it makes financial sense to. But not a bad report. Sports continues to be the CapEx usurper. That one only edged up 1% year over year, but their net operating income fell 23% because they had to keep paying these bigger acquisition figures to pick up these sporting rights. So profitability was hit by that, and that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I mean, overall, as I mentioned, not terribly exciting here this morning. 110 is, if you zoom out onto a daily time frame, 110, a bit of a pivot here, guys. Sitting back here once again, what do we do with Disney here?
Well, the breakout's going to have to wait. I think, we'll just kind of give this one a wait and see. There was a big 118 level that could have broken out. I mean, there's good things, as you mentioned, like reaffirm the buyback is possibly a good thing. But it need to be breaking this level. You go right back to the November earnings, and it ticked 118. So like I was just like, I wrote one thing down, that this is only interesting if it was trading. You could at least been trading off that level, maybe even for a short, but now you're $8 underneath. Doesn't really seem all that likely that you're going to get the Disney breakout. So this will be more of a pass. Give it a wait and see for like the 2-3 day rule if it can hold the prior support at $109. That's very reasonable, given that it is a solid report. But for now, disappointing for them. Was looking like it was a potential breakout, but that's the issue. Like you get the call coming in, like they're trying to go with the new CEO. I believe it's the Parks guy. I forget his name. That might end up getting that lead, and the market's seemingly still disappointed with Disney. It's interesting because they're not all streaming, and they do have a good solid fundamental business. But yeah, when you look at them compared to their streaming, I guess, competitors, not doing as well. And they're not in the spot of Amazon Prime, Apple TV. It's harder to compete when they don't care if they make money, and you do need to make money. Like you're in the Netflix realm. And it's not like Netflix has been getting that great of a go of it either. So that's the other side of it. Like Netflix has been getting punished in its own. So like the sentiment isn't even all that good here for Disney. Oh, that's right, not split adjusted. So I got to zoom right in. So you can see, this one still pulling back as well. So you still have Disney weighing on itself. No 118 breakout. We'll just wait again for it.
Yeah, I was going to say, thanks, Cheryl. I'll try to fix the mic up there. But, it's just like, it hasn't done anything. Like, this is basically dead since May. So it's like we had some, pretty aggressive moves to the downside. Obviously, you're sitting there around $80 has been like a COVID level as well. So Disney has been like really beat up at some certain points in its last 5 years or so. And it's had a nice recovery. So this is what we're talking about, what I'm talking about anyways. Let me go over to a weekly chart on Disney, and you can sort of see some of these bottoms. So there it was. Like, this is the only time I've been buying Disney when it's been down here, and just not exciting enough for right now. It's just, we can see what it's doing. This is a weekly chart. It's been doing nothing since this big move back in November of 24 again. So again, we talked about the election and how everything was going nuts during that time. But Disney basically dead money for a while. Play the dips, play the rips. But other than that, man, up to 125 has been a good little level there. And then back down into 100 and change, potentially also not too bad either. So you're coming into that low end right now for Disney where you may want to try to pick something up. But to me, it's just not exciting enough to look at here. So Disney, I think, will just lay back on this. It's pushing lower. If you follow, SoFi had a banger report. And it's obviously in a little bit of a more attractive space right now than theme parks, I would say the financials, and they got crushed on their earnings day. So they were up doing real well, man, up 6-7%, and then whoops, downside there for SoFi. So yeah, for me, nah, I'd rather wait and see what happens with Disney and just give it a couple days to get probably hit, and then buy it up, you know, if you can get something down near this 102, 103 area for Disney. It's going down there. There was nothing in the report that's like, oh my God, I got to jump in there and buy this. So I would say down 2%, probably getting a little lower. I'm pretty negative on the start of this week right now, so maybe that's influencing it. But for me, Disney is a sort of a stay away for now. I guess we can go back over the desk. We're going to get ready to go with our rundown.
Get into this morning. Let's have a look at the market here, and then we'll talk about what is to come coming up at 9:30.
692 on the dot, guys. That's where we closed out on the SPY on Friday. We're not that much down. We're down a 1/3%. We're finding that key area of support again. That 687 to 686 area seems to be a key area of support. It goes back to last week. On the 29th, when we sold off aggressively, we found a base there. We're trying to retake 690 again. So that's going to be our first area. If we can get above 690, that $10 level, fantastic. We clear it. We're looking at Friday's close as second level of resistance, 692. We sell off, Brendo. We're looking at that 687 again as support.
VIX back downside, worth noting. Volatility coming off yet again. If you haven't done so yet, below in the description is the link for the watch list. If you haven't done so, grab that. It's free. All you need is your email address. You can get that, and has everything you need to know in the pre-market that's moving around and why. 40%, Bitcoin is basically 40% off the highs. We are bouncing right now for, that's IBIT, obviously, on the daily chart, but we are bouncing right now. But a lot of people, I think, getting a little bit stressed about that.
They are, yeah. This is not good. And especially, its propensity to be super volatile, and this is feeding into the narrative. So first time since April of last year, AKA the tariff tantrum, that we have been below $80,000, dropping to an intraday low of just below 75, Joey, 74,876. That is not good. A 12% drop over the past 7 days as well. Certainly not a glowing endorsement for a long. The sell-off, I should say, erased more than $200 billion in Bitcoin market value. I stress not market cap, because there is no capitalization here. Analysts are pointing to a broad risk-off shift across global markets, not crypto-specific stress, possibly as a result of the new Fed chair being announced. Forced liquidation, something we always keep an eye on, Brendo. Amplified volatility with over $2 billion in Bitcoin long-short positions liquidated since Thursday. Then Saturday alone saw another $2.56 billion in total crypto, not specific to Bitcoin, crypto liquidations, which ranks amongst the 10 largest single-day events on records. And you obviously, when you have a sell-off like this, everybody wants to chime in, with investors reassessing the macro policy, again, ahead of Kevin Warsh succeeding Jerome Powell. He's throwing a super curveball in here, Brendo, because what he's been appointed for is one specific thing, and his historical ideology is something entirely another.
And I was actually just reading a note this morning that basically suggested he may do nothing until early next year, which is, as you said, a huge curveball. This portion of the show, guys, brought to you by our friends at Spot Gamma. We've all bought the dip, convinced we'd found a safe entry, only to be hit with painful losses. But what if you could see where pressure was building, somewhere most traders never look? In the options market, join Spot Gamma Wednesday, February 11th at 1 p.m. Eastern for their free live webinar, Volume Trigger, the #1 crash indicator. You'll discover how to apply options-driven signals to see when the bottom can fall out. Insight every equities option and futures trader can use to generate an edge and avoid losses. Scan the QR code to reserve your seat and start putting Spot Gamma's top early warning alert to work for you. Joe, you good? Joe's good. All right. You're struggling with breakfast there this morning.
We've all been there, right? Something goes down the wrong pipe, and let's just say Bitcoin went down the wrong pipe over the weekend, for sure. And we're right into, hey, the good news is prior resistance turns into support, which is bounced once all the way back. Go all the way back into April. and we're attempting to make a little bit of a bounce now. That being said, I went over BM&R, was sort of like, hey, we're still in a breakdown mode in a lot of these names. But the other way to look at today for me is, if you look at that 80,000 wick, right? Like when we dropped into this zone, we first bounced 80,000, and then the trend line turned into resistance, all that well and good. I'm just kind of feeling hold initially underneath, first the 80, and then here is like 84. So those are the two spots. I think waiting for the fade is going to make sense. And we're going to be trading IBIT. That's usually how it goes. It's going to work out to around the $45 level. And if we gap higher, then there's the 46.5 zone on IBIT. So that's where I'm looking short on IBIT. And then as said with BM&R, bit of a different beast. Obviously, this is ETH Treasury. If we do get all the way up there into prior lows, this would be like a secondary play over in BM&R. But looking to short that pop. And when you look at it on the daily, this has been the spot that Bitcoin has been trying to get to for a while. So when we get into that daily chart, I do expect, if we can't here again, like going back into April, if we can't regain the prior lows, then the consolidation at the bottom before breaking down underneath would make some sense to me. So if we're going to consolidate in this range, you got to pop back into the prior support.
So I have written, I mean, you said down the wrong pipe, but I think it's probably down the right pipe. I mean, no one's been talking long here for a minute. So I think crypto, no one, I don't think has been talking about buying any of these dips. We've been talking about it being in trouble for a while. So I'm just going to say congratulations, basically, to anybody, which I don't have my thing on my stream deck, but congratulations to anybody. Yeah, there you go, you got it. To anybody that's been short. I mean, it's been breaking down for a minute there. So I know for me, it's no surprise. And we wrote down 46 short there. About that, we were looking at the XRP ETF as well, XRP. That's trying to break down. But yeah, there goes IBIT. I'm looking at 46, man. I mean, it's where the 200 period moving average was when we wrote this thing down. Now you're at 45.5. I think it's worth a real good look there, and that's the breakdown levels right into here, 46 bucks. So hey, man, if we do get a bump up, which I'm not sure we will, to be honest with you here, but if we do, then let's sit here and try to short some IBIT in and around that $46 mark. And here's XXRP. This one lost a bit. Remember, it was $11. This is like a triple levered, maybe it's triple, maybe it's a little bit more. XXRP, well, it won't be more than tripled. Actually, 2 times long. So we were talking about this level too on the daily was right into here, right here, that break 9,950 last week, and then whoops, now you're down to $7 right over the weekend. So this level keeps getting beat up. Look at respecting this 50 period moving average, nice bump higher there for XRP, and then right to the downside. So yeah, man, some of these names just continue to get crushed. A BM&R, just another example of that as well, but down 11, 12%, and then Coinbase, like, you know, if you want to play maybe some legislation coming through that might benefit the space, that's obviously going to help out Coinbase. But Coinbase has had 10 straight down days, maybe more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 or so straight down days, it looks like, for Coinbase. So they really can't catch a bid at all. This name's, you know, been been double digits before, and it may be on its way back there. I don't want to call that because that's 50% lower than where we are. But, you know, getting to the downside. And then, honestly, I mean, we had said that Robinhood was going to be in big time trouble, and I called 90s when this thing was at 150. Now it's at 95, and this is the problem. When stocks get clobbered like this is another name that's down 30% from 150 down to $100. This name is another one where when there's blood in the street like this, you don't want to buy it. You know, it's like we always say, oh, when it comes down here in the 200, I think this is going to be a good buy, but it's down here for a reason. So you got to now wait to hope that crypto can turn itself around. And then I think Robinhood's going to be great. I like the story behind Robinhood, the fact of the matter that they may or may not get at least a part of those Trump accounts. I think that's going to be a huge thing for them. I don't necessarily believe in this tokenization world of stocks and all that kind of stuff. I don't think it's that inefficient right now, but I do see the benefits of that, you know, same day settlements and everything. I do really like that, and that's what I thought sort of blockchain was going to do maybe 6 or 7 years ago, but we're just waiting for, again, more approvals and these products to actually hit. Obviously with Polymarket and everything, Robinhood is going to be a one shop for all sort of place, and I like it for that. But I also like SoFi, and all these names getting hit to the downside as we continue to watch crypto slide. Because, you know, when crypto's doing well, all these names kind of continue with it, right? And with crypto being down to 78,000, there's just not as many buttons being hit. There's not as many people happy about their positions. There's not as much trading going on in accounts. And that's what happens when, you know, sort of volatility goes the other way, downside. Traders scared to maybe buy these dips. When we're at the top, people like trading in and out. But down below here, I think there's a lot of sitting on hands. And Webull has just been another one of those names, man, where it's just been crunch city on Webull. Again, like this name, wow, like IPO around 13, 14, 15, all the way to the upside. Like that just got blown out, obviously, as a lot of IPOs do. And then now you're at the all-time low again. Every day is an all-time low for Webull, and today is just another one of those days. If it ends in Y, then it might be down for Webull. So today is Monday, yeah, ends in Y. So I think you're good to go here, down 1% on Webull. This market is getting nasty. All right, Palantir tonight. You know, Palantir is going to put up a number. Will the market respect that number is a completely different story. 151 and change right now. The market's kind of getting pumped a little bit here today with a lot of negative stories, but it's Palantir up almost 3%.
A lot of highlights, a lot of positivity going into this report tonight, but this is another chart. If you zoom out onto a daily time frame, I mean, 25-ish, 25, 30% off the highs here for PLTR, but coming back into really, really significant levels here that could hold.
We're expected to report 4:05 tonight, so it'll be right after the bell, and yep. I'm sure we're going to have that market recap show, so make sure to catch that with us, guys, after the bell. It's going to be live. And ahead of earnings, Brendo, they actually launched a new product, a new operating system called Chain Reaction. It was launched back in December, but it is a new operating system, and it addresses surging AI infrastructure demands, and it focuses on, you know, coordinating power, compute, networking, construction workflows, everything that we've been hearing that's important right now for the AI build-out. So in addition to AIP, their main platform, Chain Reaction, getting some interesting looks here. Look, the company renewed as well. We know government contracts are still part and parcel for this company. $955 million contract with the U.S. Navy, and also approved another $480 million from the U.S. Navy. But they did expand their partnership commercially. We've been talking a lot more about that. Commercial revenue is growing at a faster CAGR than now government revenue, and that probably pleases investors, with Hyundai, excuse me, being the latest partnership that they announced in January. They reported 1.09 billion in revenue last time, with EPS coming in at 21 pennies. Let's see how that does compare to this quarter.
Yeah, lots to look forward to coming up, and we definitely will be here for that 4:05. Join us, won't you? Just seeing this, you can add Snowflake to the ever-growing list of companies that are teaming up with OpenAI. Snow and OpenAI signing a multi-year $200 million partnership, embedding OpenAI models natively into Snowflake's Cortex AI across all major clouds. So we did pop up to 210 there on that. Came right back down, though, guys. Not a lot of volume here for Snow.
Yeah, everybody's got to get the deal with OpenAI, apparently, because they have infinite amounts of money to spend, right?
No. Finally in the money on that stuff. Like, I sold that thing at 220 and felt bad about it, but now it's at 190.
No, it's right back.
I feel good about that.
Eventually it comes. It's weird. Like, it's like, I always feel like you sell something on the way to the upside, because you're like, oh, I think it's overextended. It usually looks bad for a while, but you know, eventually these things that go parabolic come back in a little bit. And as far as Palantir goes, like, they're going to, I don't think anyone expects them not to beat today, and I don't think that's going to be the story, right? Like, when you have almost 80% last time year-over-year growth, like, the numbers need to be impressive. I feel it'll be almost, okay, is there anything people can point to for a disappointment? And then that could be the issue. We'll check the expected move and all that stuff later tonight, obviously. But I like looking at what happened at 155. I think this is the level that's key today, at least for myself. I know you're looking at the 151 breakout, but this consolidation at 155 and the kind of this bottom tail wick here at the 55 level, that seems like a very big spot. And it's out in the ether today, like it's in the middle of this gap. But just looking at the daily chart, I think it gets there. I would play like an over-under deal. Like, if it reverts going into that and kind of trends up, reverts at 155, that's one thing. If it's closing above 55 on a 15-minute, then I would look maybe continuation longs. But because it's so far away, it's not going to make a list. It has to go another 3% to get to that key level on the daily.
Yeah, I have Palantir written down here. I mean, we wrote it down early, obviously. I don't know how we sort of like it just kept on going higher. When I wrote down the long, I was kind of like, I can't believe I'm writing down a long, but we wrote it down here at 146 to 147 there. And, you know, of course, when we're writing that down, it's, you know, 148, 149. Here's 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and then it just broke that 150 and kept on going higher. So for me, let's just wait to see if we pull back into Friday's close. So that's why I wrote down 146 to 147, this general area. Like I said, I didn't realize it would be up $3 or $4 since we wrote that, but what are you going to do? Just trade it. The market's going to have its fluctuations, especially early. So Palantir just looks to be, again, one of those names that's going to dance around just a bit. There's not much. I mean, Oxy here maybe has a sell early on as well. There's XOM. I don't know if we're going to. Oil. I was going to say oil and gold. So old has been down today. So yeah, we'll wait to see what's going on with XOM and that gold trade. CVX as well. Those guys reported on Friday. Great reports. You know, gave back a little bit, I think, early, and then yeah, rallied into the close. Yeah, so there it was down around midday, and then you know took out highs going into the close yesterday. You didn't happen to see Justin Bieber at Grammy's performance, did you?
Not live.
Okay, it was one for the ages, man. That guy is like, Justin Bieber, just shout out, oh Canada. That guy like bodied everybody at the Grammys yesterday. That guy, I have no idea where it was, LA or something like that. I'm not sure where it was, but Justin Bieber just stole the show once again. So shout out to Canada, one of the best voices you're gonna find, pure talent there. That was amazing. So I thought that was really cool. But my daughter was watching it and she was like, he's out there in his underwear. I'm like, yeah.
That's how they roll.
Very, very interesting right there. Basically just serenaded Haley, and it was just like, honestly, people were just crazy. So go check that out. Justin Bieber yesterday, if you get a chance to do that. The guy's still killing it. 31 years old. All right.
31 years young.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very young. Yeah, well, the guy's been a crazy career. All right, let's go back over to the desk here, and we'll talk about Nvidia and OpenAI.
Yeah, back downside right now, actually. For Nvidia, we had the big gap to 187.50. We get all the way back to basically where it ended on Friday, coming off a little bit. Yeah, Wall Street Journal reporting this morning, essentially implying that the deal between them, which is $100 billion, by the way, may or may not happen. There's been a few comments specifically from Jensen's side, I think, over the past couple of weeks that have indicated that he's maybe feeling a little bit cautious, specifically on OpenAI, not necessarily, obviously, the industry.
That would not make Jensen the only one, Brendo. I think there's a lot of people that are questioning OpenAI's dominance right now as the premier large language model. Let's talk about this. We know that $100 billion investment into OpenAI is not finalized, which, you know, creates that short-term uncertainty. It also reflects sensitivity to any perceived wobble in NVIDIA's AI growth narrative rather than a change, you know, to the core fundamentals. But here are the deal details in case, you know, you've forgotten them. Back in September, NVIDIA and OpenAI announced a partnership to build out a 10 gigawatt facility of AI compute, along with a potential investment of a further $100 billion. And internal discussions at the time indicated the investment was non-binding. CEO Jensen Huang reportedly raised concerns last year, this says, around OpenAI's strategic discipline and the competitive landscape, including pressure from Google and Anthropic. And we've seen really Gemini 3 make a big move as of late. Over the weekend, Jensen Huang publicly denied the claims of dissatisfaction with OpenAI, calling the reports of tension nonsense. And he reiterated the final investment will not necessarily reach $100 billion, but it's not being canceled. He also emphasized NVIDIA's strong relationship with OpenAI, and he confirmed the company will make its largest ever investment, Brendo, as a part of the ongoing fundraising. So he's trying to assuage concerns, but you know, when there's smoke, there's fire.
I mean, you could also say he didn't go into any kind of detail as to when and, you know, a timeline or anything like that. So clearly it's not anywhere near the top of his to-do list at this point. So adding to, as you said, the uncertainty here around this whole thing maybe falling apart. 190, guys, was that support from late in the day on Friday?
That support, I'll tell you that much. You know, like we said a little bit earlier on NVIDIA, it's been just holding fort pretty much in a $5 range the majority of this last month. There's been a few days underneath it, but for the most part, like, you've been chilling out in a very range-bound trade, unfortunately. And I think if you get more of that, like it's about 186. at the bottom. I think that's kind of like your support. Until proven otherwise, it's kind of your support level. But I'm feeling a little bit bearish on the chips today. And just kind of looking at, like, you had a false breakout of the high on Nvidia. I know you have to get up to like a 92 to get to that resistance spot, and it wasn't even the weakest on Friday. Like, I look at what happened on Intel and Micron and say that, hey, we're still in an environment where if you're looking at the chip space, every name except for Nvidia is moving. Like, every name is moving more than Nvidia. Like, they're all moving. Micron moving more than Nvidia. AMD is moving more than Nvidia. Intel's moving more than Nvidia. SNDK is going to move more. So you're just going to get a little bit extra volatility. SMCI, like, I could go on the list. But if this is a sign that we're getting a bit of a topping tail, then I'm looking for the fade. And specifically, like, it was Intel on Friday because this was just holding that 49, like, fail up into the 50, and then just trend down pretty much the entirety of the day. And I'm looking at the Thursday low, this little pop zone of 47.5. So I'm going pop and fade, but in Intel instead of Nvidia as far as the chips go. And for those, and we had mentioned whether you're looking at Micron or not, very similar, failed breakout, all day trend down. Like, it's got a similar setup to the other chip names as well. So they all have this weird false breakout on Friday reversal thing, which leads to some bearishness.
Okay, yeah, look, I already said this already, man. Like, Nvidia's doing absolutely nothing here for a long time. I mean, if anything, it's starting to get back up to the upside at least. So I would say instead of trying to play short on Nvidia today, which I think it's going to be, I mean, it's down to 1%, I would just wait to see if we can ever take out this 194, 195 area again. Like, it's just kind of doing its thing. We've had this roller coaster, and it's not interesting enough for me to even look at right now. I mean, we're sort of pulling at straws here. I mean, it's down 1.5%. I think it's something to look at would be a Micron or a SanDisk or something in that area, SoxL, whatever. I'm more interested in this. We're about to break right now the pre-market lows coming in right here for silver. So this is going to be something interesting to me, maybe a break of 72.50 right off the jump right there. With only 10 minutes left. We had that huge trade on silver on Friday where I was saying it was the biggest trade that I've ever put on the show. We went short right here on silver. We were short $90, and then it cracked into 70s there for SLV, and we actually had a couple reloads up here as well. And the play, what we had written down was 88.50 break short as well, because that was that pre-market low. So right there on silver right now. The problem is you're above VWAP, so I don't know if that's going to be like a clean break immediately there on silver, but taking out VWAP, taking out that low of the day, and then if you wanted to get out and you're wondering where to get out, maybe 74.50, 75. So you kind of got to give yourselves about $2 to $3 worth of room they're on that silver move, so take as many shares as you can hold for that if that's going to be your play. But watch out for silver trying to break below right now. So I'm looking at silver, gold, IBIT, Palantir, and then the futures with the TQs heading into with only 8 minutes to go. So those are all on the note. Those four ideas: silver, Palantir, IBIT, and the TQQ. So I'm going to be focused there early. But Tesla, really, again, I like that stock for the long term. I've talked about buying leaps in that thing. Let's go find out the story with Tesla, and then we can look at some levels.
Back downside this morning, coming on the back of crazy volatile end of the week last week. Bloomberg, among other media outlets, reporting this morning they're close, SpaceX and xAI, on some sort of arrangement that would, I mean, it sounds like roll all this into one and then maybe take it public instead of just SpaceX.
Exactly. It's exactly that. And they've articulated 4 reasons in the Bloomberg article. I'll summarize them for you guys. Why this is even happening, what's Elon's motivation. Firstly, the formation of a private mega entity. So the merger would combine 2 of the world's most valuable private companies, xAI at around $200 billion and SpaceX valued last time at around $800 billion. It would create a consolidated empire worth over $1 trillion before any market premium is even applied to the combined company. And there's vertical integration here of AI infrastructure. So the strategic moat would be using SpaceX's Starlink hardware to, host these orbital data centers. And I know it sounds insane, but he's been saying this for a while. He wants to put them in space. Free solar, and there's no cooling because the vacuum of space is super cold. They've already filed, SpaceX that is, for permission to up to launch to 1 million satellites, kind of positioning them to provide, this massive off-planet computer system. And the capital allocation and synergy. So the deal effectively bridges xAI's high cash burn with a company like SpaceX, which has a good revenue stream already under it. So kind of helps offset a little bit. And he wants that $1.5 trillion valuation, Brendan. Combining these two could possibly get that. Yeah. He's never in competition with anybody, is he?
Only himself. Does it make it more attractive or less attractive?
I don't know, man. I don't know. They're saying it's making it more attractive because you'd have sort of that vertical integration push. But yeah, that's a great point, because then you're looking at XAI, who's burning through cash to no end. It's a bit of a liability.
But as you were saying, it's a great product. So which do you lean on? Lots of things to consider, guys, for Tesla.
Yeah, well, as far as like the SpaceX XAI thing, I think it's all about what your time horizon is. I think in the absolute short term, most people are going to look at that and say, come on, how are you not going to say it's a drag on SpaceX, at least initially. That said, if you're talking about the synergies, it makes a lot of sense to me as well. Regardless, whichever direction this goes, I think people are going to be excited for it, like the market will be excited for it. So if it ends up with an IPO later in the year, we'll be excited for that. Still on that outside chance that maybe there is a way that you can get in via Tesla and there would be some kind of a merger and then you could combine them all together. I think that put a bit of it tried to put a floor on Tesla last week, although only mutedly doing so around the 420 level, which is right what we're back to. So it didn't really do much with that bounce off of 420 because we didn't hold any of those gains at all. Like we're right back into the 420 level. I consider this kind of an obvious over-under on the 15-minute. I'm only trading Tesla over if it holds 420 on the 15 and then look for gap fills. I'm not super bullish on things today. So like if I see a support level, I better really be in love with it. And when it comes to the EV names, I'm actually my head keeps going back to Rivian, which is continuing to break down. Like this has just literally been a short until it is not. Like I think there's like 2 or 3 green days in the last 3 weeks here, maybe 4 green days in the last 3 weeks for Rivian, and it's now underneath the 200 period moving average as well. So if I'm looking bearish, I feel like there's other EV names to go to other than Tesla. Like just always pull back into prior support levels. That'll be the 15 today on a Rivian. But yes, for Tesla, it's above that 420. It just couldn't do much with it outside of one rally Friday.
Yeah, okay. I was, same kind of way. I mean, I'm thinking negatively today, and it's already underneath. So I would say, shorting this name around 424 to 426. That's where your 200 period moving average is right now. I don't really want to touch Tesla, though, today. I'm not super excited. It's not like a huge story or anything for them. They reported last week. I think this is day 3 now, so maybe now you get a little bit of a bid coming for Tesla. So yeah, I would just say look at these lows, man. We've bounced off of 416 twice last week, and maybe we do it again. So that's all that means for Tesla. We'll see if there is a little bit more of a actionable trade there. Look, I love the car. I love everything about Tesla. I love the stock, and I think Elon's going to figure it out. Whether or not he decides to merge XAI with SpaceX, with Tesla, and everything all together, wrap it up into one big stock, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Wouldn't even surprise me if he changes the name of the company. Like I don't know what's going to happen here, but Elon's got an idea, and I'm just going to wait to hear what it is. And I'm a shareholder in it, and I'm not dip buying. I'm not doing anything right now with Tesla, to be honest with you. Nothing coming here on the Nasdaq to start the day. So my trades are still going to be all the same, man. Looking at SLV breaking, and I said pre-market low, but obviously I understand that we've been lower. I'm just talking about this most recent low right there. So everybody in the chat talking about where the pre-market low is down in the 64 area. I'm just talking about this recent low right there since we sort of started. I think if we drop through there, that's going to be a trade for me. But we're coming up to gold and silver right now. So let's go back over to the desk. We'll hear a quick story about gold and about silver, and then we'll talk to you how we're going to trade it. Get ready, man. 2.5 minutes, and then this bell gets rung.
Back downside right now, in fact, for both SLV. Here's GLD as well. I just brought that up just to see if it was doing the same thing. In fact, we're back to session lows. I mean, when we had Michael Noss on, we were kind of, it's coming back a little bit. We were kind of bouncing a bit on silver. Gold, not so much, but it looks like we might get some continuation here.
Yeah, as low as 5% this morning on gold after a 10% drop on Friday. Silver as well, more than a 12% drop at one point after a 30% collapse on Friday, the worst day, as we talked about earlier, since 1980. And the U.S. dollar index has strengthened as a result, up 0.8 since Thursday, kind of pressuring the dollar-denominated metals. But a firmer dollar here reduces foreign demand for gold and silver and raises the opportunity cost versus, yield-bearing assets like treasuries and other bonds. And as a result of the weakness, CME Group, off which the futures are traded, raised margin requirements after that violent move for gold futures. Margins got increased from 6 to 8%. Silver, kind of the same move, up from 11 to 15, Brendo, reflecting some of the brokerages or the exchanges' concerns about some froth.
A ton of volatility, ton of volume, ton of interest, guys, still in both of these for today, the rest of the week probably. Thoughts on silver here?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, usually these kind of unwinds don't happen in one session. So the way I see it, until proven otherwise, it's going to be a fade. These are going to be SSR, by the way. SLV is going to be short sell restricted. But I'm going to look at, after what I saw in ZLS, that's where I'm going to focus, so everything will be inverted. But I have 79 to 90 written down as a resistance zone. And if I see SLV get into that, then I'm going to be looking to go long ZLS instead of SLV. So I do think that's a good resistance spot. By the way, there was just a bit of a pop there in Apple, probably a small buy imbalance is expected. And then Nvidia with a small sell to the downside.
All right. Yeah, just looking for some early trades here. We talked about what I was looking for silver, so 72.50. I mean, we could run up into 74.50 as well right now. I'm not really, the name that or the level that I wrote down was in the 80s. So let's let silver settle down just a little bit. 78 might be the ultimate top there for SLV, but giving that a second. With only 5 seconds to go right now, we want to thank everybody for joining us early. We're open at 8 a.m. on YouTube, so make sure you guys do check us out on YouTube at 8 a.m. every single day. Okay, obviously silver doesn't really care if the market opens or not, right? I mean, it's going to trade the way it trades, so we're going to have to wait for silver. And the same thing with IBIT. So it's not at any levels yet for me to really do anything. I like a 46 short on IBIT. Maybe if we get up to 45 and we somehow rally right now as this market opens, then we can look at something, but not much happening right now for me on those trades. The only name that is now open and active for me that I was looking at was Palantir, and that's coming in just a little bit here for PLTR. So I like the long, but not something that I think we need to hold on to if it does wind up breaking. So watch out for a 148-ish long to get started in and around there for me. 148 if we do drop down in for Palantir will be a trade. But wow, boom goes the market, man. Huge upside play right there in the Nasdaq. Almost getting green first tick off the open.
Yeah, almost getting green, and thank goodness. I actually keystroked Intel at 46.5 instead of 47.5. So I was in, immediately punched out. We're waiting for $47.50, 2 set upside. And you mentioned we're headed, oh no, damn it, Nvidia. Okay, well, it's not on this chart. Okay, good. I had this crazy wick on my other chart, but it's an Nvidia heading back into the upside. I have a 93 wick that's on my other chart, which doesn't make any sense. So Nvidia actually heading lower is what I wanted to point out as the market heads into set upside. Looks like this name's still weak. And of course, AMD up, Intel up, Nvidia down, so that stays basically the same. Micron looking pretty strong as well as that starts to head back into the upside. So far, the Nasdaq wants to the upside, so nothing too crazy coming into play for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is barely moved off the lows here, despite this move up. If we don't actually get to 45, I'll have to take pre-market highs.
Yep, exactly. All right, so we're just chilling out right now. We've got, look, I wrote down 54. That was a little bit of it was a big move up here for the TQs. So we'll start a little trade into 54. I want to take trades that I think I like. And I mean, right here for the TQQs, if we're looking at a little bit of a chart here on a 5-minute chart, you're just coming up into this area right into here of 54. So just trying to find out if we do wind up breaking too much above where we are right now on this TQQs. And it looks like we're getting right into our level of 54. So we'll be a little short underneath it. We should be short around here. And instead we're short at 80s. 40s, but here we go, like just in a little too early. Let's see what winds up happening here with this play. We're short right now, and it's starting to go back in. So we'll take a little bit out in the mid 70s if we can get it. We're short now at 80. We'll take a, like I said, if we can get a low 70, that's fine. And that just went down into the 40s before we started taking this trade. So yeah, we should be shorter at a better price, but we're not. So we'll deal with this. A break of 54, we can get out, give it a little bit of room over top of that. But yeah, so far there's the short. I mean, I was thinking short anyways, I think, today. So we'll take it against that trade and see how far we can go down, just out a little baby piece. We're short at 53.80 right now. So 20 cents under where we wanted, but you know, can't get all the perfect prices. Let's see what winds up happening here with the TQQs today.
Yeah, and I mentioned, I forgot to mention GME. We put a tweet out about that one, and I see it in the chat. GameStop is in play lately. Michael Burry and what's his name? And Cohen buying, Michael Burry going to be back into it. There's a 25 breakout level on GameStop. That's very, very key. So IBIT came into the pre-market high. I'm just kind of zoom way in so we can get some scale here. But I want to see if we hold that 44.5. Got it on the way up, but on the way back in, I wanted to add to it in the 40s if we could. So it took some out in front of VWAP, and we're going to look for the 44.40 area on IBIT. Silver, yeah, really not moving. Not at all. So we're still inside range with SLV. It's not doing a thing as we speak. And then critical metals, like some of the USAR and CRML, both up significantly. CRML is up 10%. I don't know exactly what USAR is, but this is one that I'm watching. No breakout yet at 15. But the dip into VWAP, if we're not going to break the 15 level, at least initially, is going to be in play. I was looking at a 15 break, but it just reversed at 14.90 instead.
All right. You know, we're still doing it, so we're short here. We're 25 cents or so in the money. We'll still wait for a bigger move here on the TQQs, and we'll wait. So we do have we're a pretty full position, but now we've emptied out. We've already emptied out right now, to believe it or not, a third of this trade already right now on that downside push. So just getting out, we took the, I mean, our short was 81s, right? So getting out at 61s, that's pretty good. That gives us about that 1-to-1 if we break through. So just, we wanted to get out about 50% of our trade or so, you know, between, depending on how we feel about it and what the time of day is, you know, so we're out of about a third right there for close to 1-to-1. We should probably put another, I'm still bidding 50s, so I sort of was hoping to get them all out in and around there, and then try to hold half to see if the move does come through. Remember, at 9:45, and thank you everybody for watching, you know, you can get our watches, you can get Sharif's morning note. At 9:45, we have S&P manufacturing PMI expected as 52, and then the manufacturing PMI for January expected 48.5. So yeah, those numbers definitely going to be affecting some of this play upside right there. So there it is, man, right back into the reload area. I'm not going to reload it. Let's just wait to see. Look, if the futures go down, we're there. If they go up, we have our stop. So take some profits where the profits lie. And then now we just got to wait, man. It's only 5 minutes into this market. Looks like it's going upside. Like I was thinking short. Doesn't look like that's going to be right. Here goes the market trying to break through 54 right now. And this is a key level for me.
Yeah, I did get CRML, we got into the volume-weighted average price, but same with IBIT. It bounced volume-weighted average price, broke out the pre-market high, so I'm out of that one. And if we get to 45, that's the key level.
Downside.
If we get to 45, it'll be right around that 79 change mark on IBIT. But it looks like we're still front end of that move on IBIT. Obviously, 6% is meaningless. It's a 24-hour market. But yeah, it's still going to be red. But I got to wait for the 45 level. CRML just, I'll quickly show you, bouncing off VWAP once, retaking the pre-market high, and it's now got a bit of an inside range. So if I like this one to the long side, basically want to play it if I can get VWAP into a potential 15 break on critical metals. USAR, if you're choosing between them, USAR is already broken out, whereas CRML is still trying to break that prior level out. So hopefully it can play a little bit of catch-up or a catch-up to the upside.
Yeah, both.
As the market, I know, it's catch-up. Catch-up to the upside is CRML and USAR trying to go. All of the metals plays are up with the $12 billion reserve that the president is discussing implementing now.
All right, so we'll have to slap a fail on that. I mean, now the market goes higher there. The only thing that I said about this last week is like sometimes when markets break levels, I should be thinking about going long. through them, but yeah, did not do it here. So we'll take the L and then just wait to see what this market wants to do. Like I said, early play, first 5 minutes, thought the market could go down, hit our levels. We waited for it, didn't necessarily happen. So let's just cancel. And, you know, like before we'd be like, let's reshort, but let's not get into that play yet, as we just talked about that number coming through. You know, with this this bigger bid coming through today, look at Palantir, man. This is actually going the other way. So this would have been one that, you know, we had thought about going long, and maybe we should have down there at that 148 level. We wrote down 146 to 147, so we almost got into those areas. With that move down, that's what I was sort of waiting for. They want to go long Palantir and short the futures at the same time, but the same seems to be working out. But still, like, you know, it was up 2.5%, giving back 1 full percent now, back into 149. Did tick under 148 or so, close enough to it. Now you're hovering underneath VWAPs. We're going to have to give this one just a little bit of time. I mean, I'm almost thinking short now for Palantir, but where do you get out, right? It's not enough of a not enough of a reason to go short yet. Just kind of hovering around, trying to get it all figured out. Futures trying to pull back just a little bit. Some of the bigger stories today, you know, you guys wanted us to look at Tesla early. We do have the stock visualizer that you can look at. Make sure you guys do hit the like and the subscribe. Here's Tesla down 3%. So right into that 416. We said that there were some levels there from last week that we had bounced off of. So right now, Tesla thinking about doing that again. But the market's up and Tesla's down pretty good right now. So, hey, who knows what's going to happen to Tesla if the market ever goes down. You know, we could get really flushed out there. But a good base forming at around 416. It was really 415 there. So, yeah, you know, this could be a decent long here if you want to give yourselves $2 worth of room on TSLA as the market turns green there today. Not a bad call. Let's wait for a little lower, but trying to base out now on Tesla, maybe 416 if you're lucky enough to get that, and then you use 415 as your out. But here comes Tesla trying to make back some of those gains that they've lost early here, down 3% TSLA.
Yeah, speaking of down, I do see in the chat someone saying, what just happened to SoFi? You're right. No. We'll get there in a second. Yeah, on a day where the market is up, SoFi is probably going to break your heart. CRML couldn't break the 15, so the breakout through about 14.5, gets to 1490, and then stalls. So while USAR continues to go, it's up, I don't know, 3 or 4 percentage points further. This is yet unable to break out that 15 level. Still like it for a potential break above there, but if it can't go, then you just got to scalp into it. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, everybody, especially that subscribe button. As I see, we're 78% of the viewers subscribe, meaning 22. I like the number 22 for Will Clark, but I'd like it if the not subscribed number was a little bit lower. Let's get that into the teens, everybody.
Yeah.
And look, one of the reasons why is so that you can ask us questions and mention things like SoFi being down 3%. So I'm not aware of a story specifically for SoFi, but remember they've been selling after earnings. Disappointing because they had a very strong quarter, and it was a strong move to the upside that completely reverted and is continuing lower. Now through the 200-period moving averages, SoFi, and that support on the weekly charts is going to be in and around $21. Could see it. It could easily see SoFi testing that level. Unfortunately, does not look very good for them. Yikes.
Yeah, no, we have another position right here. We did take that Tesla long. It does go $1 in the money, and we didn't do anything about it because we were waiting for VWAP there. So little silly action trading there. But we'll get some out at 416.60 right now, 5%. I'm waiting for much more, but we got to get to 417 and change first. So if we could break back above 417, then we'll take out 20% or so. But trying to see if Tesla wants to mature up just a little bit here. You know, like I said, we did have $1. We could have basically made back everything we lost there on the TQ's short, but we didn't get it out. So now we'll have to wait to see what winds up happening with Tesla. Just trying to wait against this 414 low here. Market is booming a little bit. We've seen Tesla before base out early, right, and then go. So, you know, just like what's happening here, there's the move up, here's the move down, based out, and then absolutely ripped up, right? Every morning, Tesla does have, I mean, this one kept on going, but maybe you're looking short here, basing out, then tanking. You got to be careful with it, right? So we got to have our stops in. So we're going to watch out to see. There's the move down. We'll see if it's trying to base and go. So that's what I'm dealing with right now on Tesla. Trying to get out of 20, like I said, trying to get out of another 20% above, not another, but trying to get out of 20% above this 417 mark. If we can get that, there it is. That's $1 right there on this name. Let's see if it can continue to go higher. We will take that piece out on that 417 break, but look what happens. As soon as it breaks it, whoosh, right back down to the downside. So we're out of only 25% of this. So that was a good one, but then stopping immediately pretty much there at VWAP and just returning right back down. So you got to have your orders out to get filled. We did there. So far, so good here on Tesla. And then because you had mentioned SoFi, let's just have a quick little look at Robinhood. I mean, I'm assuming, wow.
Oh, what the?
Oh, sorry about this,
what's
Joey options right there. Well, what's going on right here is that this you know, the emperor has no clothing here when crypto goes to the downside, apparently.
Yeah, but Bitcoin's bouncing.
Yeah, no, I know. Bitcoin's, what is it, 78?
Well, it's not further down than what it was before. Like, no, I'm only saying that because
8 is lots.
8%'s a lot when Bitcoin is like ticked up, I don't know, 1%, maybe,
did not
although that looks like it's rolling back over. Also, Circle's down 5%, but at least Circle has the excuse of making an all-time low on Friday and continuing its move down. So even with that bounce, Circle looking weak and underneath VWAP, if IBIT is setting up again, but if IBIT wasn't setting up again, I'd probably look to short pops on Circle. So there's the rollover top here at about 44.8. I had to zoom this in. When things gap like that, it is what it is. You don't care about what happened on Friday. If we can't get to 45, it looks like we're getting a bit of a trend break here on IBIT to try to jump into said short. But it is Circle and Robinhood that are much, much weaker in the crypto space. BMNR is blasting to the upside. So it's these types of plays which are looking better. Yeah, VWAP on Circle is going to make sense. And Intel is now at that 47.50 level. So AMD and Intel both booming to the upside. Market might be flat, but this is up 2 points. AMD, let me just double check for everybody. I know a lot of people are asking about AMD. AMD up 3%, very similar charts and looking incredibly strong. If we don't get a trend break, this is kind of that spot that I was looking for level-wise. Morning support on Friday, and then midday support, and then resistance. So if we do not get some kind of a trend break, I don't enter into the trade because we're screaming to the upside right now. And the market is, we're about to have, that's right, we have economic data in just a couple of seconds with it, Era.
It's not going to be the most closely watched print. That'll be the ISM manufacturing PMI at 10. But before that, we get the S&P manufacturing PMI right here at 9:45 in 10 seconds now. 52 is the forecast prior, 51.9. Sean mentioning those numbers earlier today. So again, we are expecting a slight increase here for that S&P manufacturing PMI in just 1 second. We are going to get this print, just waiting for this to populate here. For me, again, that is the S&P manufacturing PMI, and I am just waiting to see this number. Give me a second. My thing's having issues. As you can see here, market still near highs, a little bit higher than expected here. 52.4 is that S&P manufacturing PMI print, above estimates of 52 and the previous print of 51.9. Again, we're getting an ISM manufacturing PMI at 10 a.m. That number also expected to be higher than the previous print. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. Meanwhile, we are now back where we need to be with a good, decently positive day so far here as we go 1 for 2. We get out immediately on our TQQ trade as that blows to the high side pretty good. And then there goes Tesla, man. We got a 418.70 fill there. Yeah, 418.70. So 418.70 instant fill there on Tesla. Let's see if it continues to rip higher. Right now, it's $2 and change in the money on TSLA. What's up, Adara? I'm out of half.
CNBC reporting here that Netflix, so you're going to be on watch here, Warner Brothers shareholder vote on Netflix deal is likely to be held in March. Again, CNBC reporting that the Warner Brothers shareholder vote on the Netflix deal will likely be held in March of 2026. So just a month away. Back to you.
That's weird. Like, I can't, okay, why would Netflix feel the need to fall almost $1 just because they're announcing when the shareholder vote is going to be? Doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. But it is, Netflix was super strong up until a second ago, and now it's absolutely, well, it's falling back into the volume weighted average price. I'm actually eyeballing Warner Brothers, which for whatever reason is popping right to the deal price. So this is double topped. The cash value is $27.75. It's trying to break it out. I might take a revert. I usually revert long on this only, but I'll look a short reversion off of that high. If this is the only news, it's just they're announcing when the shareholder vote is. That doesn't seem that significant to me.
All right, guys, we're now at our daily goal, which is always a good one. We got some money back in our pocket, and we're just going to act like we've done this before because we have. Here's Tesla, $4, and I do have another, so I'm out of half of this trade right now. So we still have half, but I am waiting for another 15% of my original. So we'll be into 1/3 left. If we do take down 420, I'm going to be offering that. It's where the 50-period moving average is. So far, so good here on Tesla. We're just going to wait to see where it goes right there. So, okay, that's Tesla. We can look over and see what some of these, what some of the broader stocks are doing here as well as we get going, man. It's 9:47 right now. Market's been open for about that 20 minutes. So if we're just going to quickly look, it's Nvidia with the downside move. Costco and Amazon, the retail sector doing quite nicely today. Eli Lilly. So everything's pretty green. Tesla's down that 3%. We're all over that. Hopefully that, yes, sir. Hopefully that can mature upside as well a little bit there. Energy, we talked about silver, gold, all the rest of them downside today. So is energy names, right? So energy, oil's been getting hit just a little bit there. It's nice to see the financials, despite Robinhood, which is right into here, a big ugly down 9% today, and SoFi is not part of the S&P 500, so it's not in this little chart. But the big banks are doing quite well. Actually, now that I look at it, it's JP Morgan's down, but BAC is up, Morgan flat, Wells Fargo up, Goldman flat as well. Goldman and JP Morgan down. Berkshire, a very, very interesting name to look at. And then there's Coinbase to the downside today as that market's really started to bleed, right? We talked about how crypto not doing well. Nvidia down 2, AMD up 4. So yeah, like talk about a tale of different names and different companies.
A second ago.
Right there, yeah. So let's have a quick look at AMD. There it goes, like just Rip City to the top side for advanced micro devices. And Nvidia, we did have that story today about Nvidia and OpenAI. So I guess, I don't know, maybe they don't like that investment or that potential there. So down to 187 goes Nvidia, was not on the radar today for me. I'm just, if we want to talk about this Tesla position just real quick, it's the only position that we have on right now. Yeah, look, 416. Generally speaking, I would have loved to get that print, maybe waiting a little bit too greedy for it, up there at 420. Let's still stay with it. We're trying to hold out VWAP. We just kind of bounced off of that right now. Another out would be a trailing tick out at 417.50 if we do take this 21 period moving average. But for me right now, here we go. Let's mature up right now for the big trade for me today. Tesla trying to go. We're still waiting at 420. Hopefully we get that marker. And sure, it's 420. It's nice, but I've been getting out at pretty much all the even dollars. So we can puff pass on that and have some fun with the actual level. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. If there's momentum, it should break through this 420 level. And I'm just sitting here because it's the 50 period. If this was at 419, we would have done the same thing. So here we go upside, but we just did bounce a little bit off of 420 there. So let's just put that exact same order in the 70s. There we go. We get that out now. And there it goes, man. That's a big trade. 350 there in the money for Tesla. We now have a third left of this trade. So let's just see how far it can go up right now. So I'm long Tesla. We're short Warner Brothers. And let's just see where this goes. Hopefully we take out 420 and sky's the limit on TSLA here.
Yeah, sky's the limit as the market almost to 7,000 on the ES. It looks like we're going to get to. Intel just broke $48. That's up 4% as we speak. It now has 2 points on the trend. So there is at least a trend that I can revert on this if it does get up to that 51st. Yeah, 50 is going to be a good level. By the way, we did not get our IBIT fill, unfortunately. IBIT's rolling back over. Bitcoin is rolling back over, I should say. So I want to try to grab it on the way to this 45, but the current high is 44.8. So I'm going to jump into this one short as the market blasting, but this is not really going. And it was a good thing we got it a CRML, almost said CMLR, critical metals. That initial break does not take it through $15. It's almost red on the session now. So we took that little breakout trade into the 15. There was no break of the high. I don't think I'm going to try another long in this. That's a false breakout of the high of the day, and now you're coming back underneath. So it was a one and done on CRML, probably USAR doing the same thing as, exactly. It was one breakout trade, and then they sell the news. So is what it is. It's like the second or third time we've seen that. It actually happened on Friday with these names as well. Like the only trade you had was the initial breakout, and there was nothing after that. So I feel like Intel's going to be the next trade. If I don't get that pop in IBIT to get me short, then the next opportunity is going to be Intel breaking the trend line. And when it does, just want to be ready for it. There it is, just tagged 48. It'll have to get back underneath $48 to break this trend line. Up 3.5%. It's mostly a market rally. There was no particular positive story for Intel and the chips in reality. There was one small Nvidia story. I don't think that's carrying the morning at all. Just a relief rally in the markets, but I'm not believing it when we're only 15, 20 minutes in. We still have overhead resistance. So Warner Brothers set off that high currently, but this is one a little bit more interesting if we can break this trend line, because we have almost $1 to VWAP on Intel.
Okay, we have, I think there's a lot of interesting things trying to set up right now. Like, so first of all, our Tesla trade is through the moon, so that's going to be great. Like, that's now at 421 almost, so we're at $4.50 on that, and that's like, we're clocking that one, that is for sure. But yeah, silver just took down that level that we were talking about of 72.50. We didn't execute against it or anything. It's not really moving as violently or anything like we had noticed there on Friday. Obviously, we don't expect that kind of movement to continue to happen. I mean, that was a monster trade there on Friday when we were in the money $30 or something to the downside at the maximum. It's not even really doing a whole heck of a lot today. Like, I would rather, again, I guess I got to get rid of that. Maybe if I get rid of this wick, I would rather sort of short it near some of these tops. For now, hold on a second. I just got to get rid of this data for one. Oh yeah, see, that's wrong. 73. Let's just go to 97 as well. We'll pretend like it didn't do anything that one. But right into there shouldn't affect these prints. You know, 74.50. If we're lucky enough to get something in and around there, which has shown us the top for silver, I think that might be something to look forward to. And yeah, you know, we can get this. Let's just wait for 422.50 now on Tesla. I know that sounds crazy, like we're waiting for a $7 winner, but 422, let's just go to 422 then, okay, crazy guy? We'll see if we can get that one, and then see if we can get a play up near those levels. As we're doing it again today on Tesla, we had some big trades last week. We'll see, obviously we can replicate some of this right now, but Tesla trying to make that move now, and we're here for it. So as long as it continues to make that move higher, we'll sit here with it, waiting for 422 now on TSLA. Nothing else printing out, man. I mean, you know, in and out. Like, we've made almost now double on our Tesla that we lost right here on this TQ trade. So, you know, for me, it was well worth it. We did put on some risk here because we were waiting, you know, for that bump up into 54. Unfortunately, we had 54.80s. We should have been more specific, and then the hit wouldn't have been as bad. But there it goes to the upside. So far, so good there. And then the only other trade, and I was just talking about silver, potentially should go short there. And the other one that we had looked at that we should have chosen, we wrote down Palantir, man, 146 to 147. It only gets as low as 148, but there goes boom in the night, goes PLTR. So yeah, not a bad little uptick there for Palantir today, heading into earnings, up 2.68% now. So yeah, so far so good on all these trades. People want to talk about GameStop. Neil's into
GameStop
Intel.
broke 25,
yeah,
actually.
Intel, Warner Brothers, Tesla so far today.
Yeah, GameStop did break that $25 level and looks like it's absolutely flying. This is a good level on the daily. There was no new catalyst with GameStop, so it is what it is. Like, I think it's just purely technical as far as I can see. We did talk about this with Michael Burry and what's his face?
Cohen.
Mike and Cohen as well. So Burry and Cohen have been the catalyst, and you're breaking out through that 25 level as we speak. Might play some pullbacks in there. I didn't like the pre-market volume on it, but sometimes pre-market volume is not the be-all, end-all. Looks like it's got a lot of juice to it, at least this morning. So we got the trend break on Intel. As always, give it to the prior bar high. VWAP's $1 away, so this is not like Intel where you give it 5 cents because you have a bit of a wider target and a wider berth on that bad boy. And Warner Brothers still doing exactly the same thing, but silver just broke down, and I said if it did, then ZSL, I'd start looking for that long position. So ZSL is, with silver breaking some of the lows, and it's just, look, it's the pre-market lows from this morning, not overnight. Just get that out of the way when it just broke the low, and you're breaking out this high here in ZSL. So I want to start buying dips. If we're going to start trending up, higher lows, just want to play those everywhere we can on ZSL. As long as silver trends down, basically you want to be long this. But remember, trade this always with stops because it had a mini flash crash when silver didn't move. So I wouldn't be in this without some kind of a trailing stop behind you at any point. But I want to buy the dip back into prior high.
Yeah, we literally wrote this trade down and didn't take it. The break of 72.50. It's on here. It's actually, the number one trade here today is to take that silver breakdown. It just happened right in front of our face, and unfortunately we miss it. So I'm going to try. I'm trying to get it now, but now it's really starting to make that move lower here, breaking lower. It doesn't look like it wants to slow too much down here. If it does try to bump up, then yeah, there it goes. Then we can try to, I'm gonna try to grab some right now. See, I keep on pushing lower and I'm not getting anything. So we will take a small fill here in the 90s, but might be a little too late. First position right now on silver. I should be short, honestly, $2, well, at least $1 ago. So we'll see if we can play this one back upside a little bit and then watch out for VWAP and all these little levels. And if we wind up breaking down through that, then we can get out. A break of 418, we only have a third left of Tesla. So I think we did a good job sort of explaining, oops, that's not Tesla, although it should change with my chart. Breaking through VWAP, we'll get out of a third of this and then hold 20% left, okay? So if this does wind up breaking down here through 418, then we'll stop out of TSLA and we'll see how far that one wants to go back in and potentially think about reloading into there. So yeah, just on the silver trade, because I know some of you guys are looking at this, we should have already had this name, right? And so that was the break there of 72.50. We'll see if we can get back up to there and get some more if it comes back up into 72.50. But for right now, it is trying to push a little lower. We could check out what's going on with GLD real quick to see what that name's doing. Obviously, it's pushing and probably coming back. Yes, it is. And then a quick check-in on the DXY, which maybe I'll put over here. We can watch out, see what the dollar's doing. That's had an impact there as we had Warsh last week and or on Friday morning, and then all of a sudden, all the action in the dollar and all the action in these metals started to pop through. So right now, the U.S. dollar hasn't really done anything in the last half hour. So we'll still continue to watch out for this silver trade and see if it wants to print a little bit for us, as we're now short at 71.12s here on SLV. Its low tick there is in the 90s, so we can put a bid there just to get something out. You know, we know how violent silver can get, right? So let's not just take the profit immediately on this thing. And there it goes, Neil. There's another 50-cent winner right there on SLV. So I'm glad we're both sort of in this silver trade, but here we go. Nice downside play, man, here on SLV, and we're about to get stopped out of a little bit of our Tesla trade, but we're making money on this silver as well. So yeah, not too bad. Yeah, so we've got all the trades we wanted today: silver, the futures, and then we have Tesla, which is a brand new one. So we'll just wait, but we're short silver now, which is what we want.
Yeah, futures actually stalling out. We're going to go to Darren in a quick little second, but the future is stalling out at a big level on the Nasdaq on Friday. Just very quickly, here's your top. It was actually the pivot point on Friday, right in here at about 25.8 on the Nasdaq. So you're getting a nice turnaround. Just so happened to coincide, hopefully, with Intel getting to this turnaround point. But I'm looking 47.
My Tesla did.
I said 47.5, and then I was sitting in front of 47.4. So let me just adjust that order. In front of $47.5. Then the volume weighted average price here, which is gliding up, and now it's at 47.2. So it'll be about 80 pennies to VWAP instead of $1 because it was trending to set upside. So that's working back in. I got a little bit of ZLS out, but then it's starting to come right back. So we're kind of flat-ish on that silver trade. It's just the inverse. That's why it's going to show that I am long, everybody. So we'll see what's next. WBD, by the way, is pulling back into VWAP as well, but it's going to be Intel that I think is the most volatile. If it bounces off 47.5, this was a key. It was a key zone of support on Friday. I want to make sure I get a second leg out in front of this 47.5. I might have to tick up into the 60s to get it.
I think we're going over to Adara.
Are we? Oh.
Happening now here, guys. We did get that higher than expected ISM manufacturing PMI, 52.6, well above forecast of 48.5. So this is the second manufacturing PMI print in a row after the S&P manufacturing PMI print that's going to come in a little bit hotter than expected. And keep in mind, we were already forecasting hotter than the previous print. So nice look there for those PMI prints. Again, they're going to be hotter than expected. Here is the Nasdaq right now, trying to find some support around that 623 level for the triple Qs. Lots on watch today. We're still going to have Bitcoin and metals plays in focus. BTC, and this is MSTR, so a related play, initially gapping down, pushing higher off the open, and then giving back a lot of that move already. Then, of course, you have SLV and GLD. These ones having quite the rough session going back to Friday. Silver especially selling off in the double digits percentage, but right now not really able to find too much support. I do want to talk about some earnings plays here. DIS. They reported this morning before the bell. We're going to get Palantir after the bell, certainly more closely watched. Also, ORCL here. This is the SLV chart. So I'll pull up ORCL. ORCL is certainly on watch after announcing further fundraising plans. Initially, stock gapping down on this, then pushing higher after Fitch reiterated its credit rating on the stock regardless. So ORCL and DIS on watch again. Palantir after the bell. Back over to Neil and Sean.
Now let's talk about PDS Biotechnology. That's PDSB over on the Nasdaq, and they're transforming how the immune system targets and fights cancer, with an initial focus on HPV-16 positive head and neck cancers. HPV-16 can cause head and neck cancer, and more people are facing these high-risk cancers than ever before. HPV-16 positive head and neck cancers are projected to become the most common type of head and neck cancer in the U.S. in just a few years. You can learn more at www.pdsbiotech.com. Shout out to them, and again over on the Nasdaq, PDS to the B. So and thank you, Adara, as well. Could have hit the key, but didn't. The market's headed right back into the high, so I think it might have made some sense, and we did. Took another leg out in front of 47.5, although Intel's still heading back into the downside. Want that VWAP. Again, the target's to VWAP in this particular case. Why? Well, because it's an upward trending stock. ZSL does not break out the highs, which means we don't make a fresh low, but I want to buy the dip on a higher low in front of 255 to 260. So this prior resistance level, looking for it to turn support and just stair step it to the upside. GameStop, everybody, still going. Still hasn't pulled right back into the 25 level to join, but given that that's the level on the daily, that'd be a good place to try to pick this one up as it continues to go 5%, almost 6% to the upside. And one last one, because we haven't really covered this unfortunate move to the downside on Disney. Yeah, almost a full 7% to the downside now. Disney on the lows. Wasn't like the quarter was bad, but it's absolutely getting throttled. Just zoom out and you'll be able to see 102 here on Disney. But this could be one where you're just giving it a couple of days to settle down. Because the report wasn't all that bad, but this earnings season hasn't really been about that. They just don't seem to care. They'll sell off anything these days.
All right, we got right into a pretty key level here, obviously for silver, as we wanted to reshort it. So not reshort it. We only got out 20% there. So we'll short that against that 72.50, which was a level that we wanted to talk about. So there it is, another short, not another short, just adding to the short. It's the same position. We are, we're comfortable with this position right now, but definitely thinking about this 73 area right there. If we break above 73, then I think we should clock out of silver. But right now we're short in the 80s. So so far so good. We'll see if we can get something out if it does come back in a little bit. Yeah, I think we should take some profits if we're able to do that. But yay, lucky or good or both. But there goes Tesla right back up there into 420 again. We did get some out of our trade. Like once we broke right there, once we broke right there at 18s, we did get a little bit out. We bought it back at the 21, then just sold a little bit more of our position there at 420 again. As this has been the high, we'll still try to let it go to 422. That's going to be our level. And I was bidding at 415.70s there. No, sorry, 415.20 to basically get near that low again. That didn't come into play, so we sort of wait on that one and see where we go from there on Tesla. So let's see if we can get some nice upside plays. I mean, look at the market really starting to go again. So not too bad at all right there for our Tesla trade. Screaming northbound, that is for sure. All right, man. Yeah, we haven't got anything out yet on this play, but we did say we wanted to go into silver up here at 72.50. So we did. I mean, we got 40.39, so it looks like that's going to come back in again and give us another opportunity to get some more, but I'm not going to do that. VWAP is at the 60s, and then honestly, like, I don't want to just completely stop out at the very top there, but I don't think this will be the top. So we're going to wait for 73 or so to sort of clock out of that one, and then if that does happen, that will be an L, obviously, for silver. But I am looking to get a little out if we can fall back in and just take a small little piece, because we're short right now at this price. We're short at 84s. So maybe this will, maybe it will come back in. There it goes, and give us a little bit of a bid now. I'll take a little bit more. We just bounced off 75s there. We'll put another bid down there, see if we get something. I'm in the I'm in the 70s and then in the 50s. So you got to take profit when you see these kind of moves play, man. We really nailed silver on Friday, like I was saying to all of you. It was the biggest trade for me ever on the show, and that's been like 5 years that we've been doing this. And here it was right here to start the day off with that silver trade. And we hit it around 10:30 right there, and then it just fell all the way in the rest of the day. So that was silver on Friday. I don't think there's enough. Well, who knows what's going to happen today, but right now it's not necessarily looking like it wants to do that same kind of a move, but we're still here for it. Into silver, into TQs early, and then still waiting out for this Tesla to wind up doing something. But here goes silver, man, right back up to the upside again, trying to break through 72. So they're okay, good. We get to 73, Phil. So far, so good here on SLV. Let's get to the downside, man. Your number one trade here on the sticky note today, and so far it'll be PNL2 because of Tesla, but here it comes screaming back in. We're bidding 71.50 now on SLV.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I can see every single time you're like, oh, it ticks up or down. I see the exact same thing on ZSL, which is how it should be. But I want to remind everybody, if that disconnects, I want to trade that because if it does another kind of flash crash or disconnect, I want to be on it at the time so I see it in real time as it tries to go. But it is bouncing higher, which means silver's going lower. I've moved my stop to break even on Intel, so it was a trend break here, giving it to the prior bar. We got halfway to VWAP. But now we're starting to head back in, so we got a break-even trade there on, it can't turn into a losing trade anyways. And then ZSL, we said we'd buy the dip in front of the prior high. There's the prior high, bought the dip, now looking for it to get right back into the high. So we haven't made a fresh low yet, but we did bounce off the prior resistance level, and we'll look to play this back into the high of the day. If it's gonna trend, I just wanna look to be buying the dips on ZSL. Obviously, it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be inverse. So when silver goes down, this in theory should go up. But I'm not forgetting, and I'll care more about this in the afternoon, but it is worth mentioning that if it does disconnect, I want to be all over. If I see silver not move and ZSL go crazy, no matter what, I'm reverting it. I'm just looking for that spot. Like if I see some kind of disconnect, I'm not gonna arb it, I would just take ZSL in the other direction.
Oh man, I know we're talking some silver here, but honestly, like I have a lot of risk associated with this trade right now, so we had to cover some down there at 71, man. That just absolutely, like we said, we were waiting for 72.50. I'm not glad that we missed it the first time because obviously, you know, we would have liked to have this trade 2 times, but we only have it 1 time, but I'm glad we do have it that 1 time there on that move down and really to cover a decent amount on those kind of moves. Like we don't always have to expect silver to run like gangbusters every single day. So we have to make sure we do take a little bit out. Next, Phil, hopefully I just put another bid in the 50s. Hopefully we're able to get that. And we still are waiting for our out. If we break above 73, we can get out of this one. And that may be what the case is. So let's put 73 out there as our flashing trade. If it does come to that point, we'll get a little bit out there. And then we'll just work on it from there. Actually, maybe I'll put another offer in and around 72.50. Like, I don't want to go red on this, but obviously if it takes out the top, we will have to do that. Another out as well, as we'll start cooking up some profits, and we'll say shout out to DJ Khaled right there, but another out on Tesla in and around 419.50. See if that one now wants to come back in. We only have 20% of that trade, but I'm going to take out actually a little less. I'm going to take out another 5% right now. Put us down to 15%. There it is. We take it out at 14.75. Get us down to 15% now on this trade, and we do get another out again here on silver. So, all right, let's go to our other trade alert that we had sort of looked at today and hadn't gotten in, was Palantir not doing a whole heck of a lot. AMD was really Moon City earlier on as well, and that still continues to go. Wow, another 5% right there for Advanced Micro Devices, but who cares about what we're trading because we're just trading the same stuff. Let's go over and see what you guys want us to look at here. AMD, yeah, Robinhood down to $91 right now. That is pretty crazy to see how low that name's fallen there as well. Considering how many people love this name, sub 130, 140, 150, now you're down to $90. Same thing over here with my friend over here, SoFi. I'm invested heavily in SoFi, not in Robinhood. So maybe have to make a move there. SNDK not stopping as well. One of my largest holdings, of course, Apple, 264. That's up 2% in kind of a raised market, so that's nice to see there. USAR, we had that story about the metals today. Tesla, you know, we've done well to get out of some of that near the top, so happy with our Tesla trade, only holding 15% of that. That's going to be PNL1 pending what happens with my silver. Netflix there, had some stories today. You're trading Time Warner, or Warner Brothers, so that would be something to look at there. Micron, again, another big day, up to 429, up another 3% there. But it's silver that's got all my attention right here, down 5% today and looking to hopefully get a little bit lower. All my risk and all my day right now pretty much associated with this silver trade. So I'm going to put another bid here into the mid-30s, bang, get that trade. And now we can sort of sit on our hands a little bit as silver's really, really working out for us. A very, very big day on this side. And then we'll have to wait to see what happens with Tesla because it's just still $2 and not doing a whole heck of a lot. So good trading over there with Warner Brothers and IBIT, and we're just going to wait to see what hopefully happens with silver. Maybe we can get back down to some of those lows.
Yeah, I want to shout out the super chat we got here, but it was there was no message, so I can't actually throw it up there. Unfortunately, it's Jeff Guin mentioning, well, just giving us a super chat. There isn't even any context. Danny's boy, you're going to see up here after silver crashed on Friday. I had to move back into Obi's car. If you guys have any leftover tilapia today, I will take it.
I told him, but too bad I don't think Obi owns the car. So
yeah, it's a bit of a running joke, and the whole Obi's car thing. That being said, it's only one day. Hopefully things will turn around. I know if you're long, it has been a rough one for SLV. We'll see. It hasn't been as volatile nearly today for sure. But thank you guys for the super chats. Do appreciate it. Did say that Intel trade couldn't turn into a loser because I put it back to break even, but it did get back to the break even. So we had a keystroke early. That was a mistake. You have to just jump out of it when it happens. And then we took the trend break finally. 47.5 was the level that I liked. It got there and didn't break trend. It got to 48 and did break trend, but we only got halfway. So you got to VWAP and then no further. And then ZLS, again, bought the dip into the prior high. Haven't really made a new fresh high yet, but it looks like we're tracking toward it. I'm saying new high. I'm talking about since the open. Right, like not overnight levels. Like if you get to overnight highs, that'll be a little bit closer. Well, Friday's highs will be pretty good here at the $2.80 level. So I have one offer before we get there, and then we'll see if a breakout's going to even happen on that bad boy. So thanks for the super chats. Keep letting us know what you guys are interested in. Haven't really seen too much. Like the only small capper out there that I've seen in the ether was people talking about GameStop. I'm assuming there's got to be something else moving in that land except for GME, and that's stalling out a little bit. Like GameStop kind of chilling out up 6% and hasn't made a fresh high in about, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes or so in there. So let us know again what you guys are watching in here. WBD is kind of creeping back for me, which is working, but it hasn't fallen apart yet. And I've only been going long this stock because it's been underneath the deal price, but it did tick up. The deal price is $27.75. So it tried to break the high and pull back in, but there's been no VWAP break to come all the way back down to 27.5, which is what I'm waiting for.
I'm still trying to cover. I just covered some more. So we got like more outs on silver, man. Like that just went right back into these levels. We took a bunch of outs there at 71, a couple more here at 71.35. So yeah, it's still going to be. It was funny because when it was down there, it was my P&L number one, and now it's starting to go back up to the upside. So I'm not getting super nervous about this. I mean, we've held this for many, many dollars, and like I said, literally the biggest trade of the show's history, the biggest trade that I ever put on Sands and IPO was on Friday on this name. I just don't get the same feels that we're going to absolutely collapse today. So let's take a little bit more off here. We did get some more out there at 170, at 71.70, and now we'll see if we can get a little lower. So the first couple takes there was 71. This is coming back in a little bit here, so I think we got to still respect our strategy, and that is to stop out on key levels, and that for me is going to be this 50-period moving average, which is now down to 72. 60s or so. So I think we got to change our stop right now and get out a little bit. Good just recent out there on Tesla as well. I was going to say before we went over to silver, it's still bouncing around this 419. It's not a whole heck of a lot of action here on Tesla. So out. We now have 12.5% left on TSLA and about half on this trade still. So not didn't get out enough, obviously, near the bottoms as silver is starting to absolutely rip higher now, back to the upside on SLV. Okay, Adara, what you got behind that desk over there?
I saw some people mentioning this in the chat, using the chat screener, and I do want to talk about Estee Lauder because there's a story for this, but it is undoubtedly incredibly weird. Estee Lauder moving higher, and I am not joking because one of the heirs to Estee Lauder, Jane Lauder, she's married to Kevin Warsh, who is the nominee here from U.S. President Trump to take over as Fed chair once Powell's term ends. So yes, I am not joking. I am seeing speculation here. Estee Lauder is running because the wife, or I guess, sorry, one of the heiresses here is married to Kevin Warsh. So in case you're wondering why EL is at intraday highs, that is why. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the first time. I mean, we've had JD Vance's wife is on the board of, I forget where, but you know, that's what happens, man. These people are obviously well connected, card-carrying Republican there. Yeah, I mean, you know, Nancy Pelosi's the greatest trader of all time.
Well, that's a difference.
And she's a Democrat, right? So, okay, here we go.
They might actually change that law.
Yeah, maybe they will.
It actually has a chance to go through.
Yeah, I think they should be allowed to invest wherever they want, but as long as it's public, right? So, okay, here we go. 72.10, 72.15 coming back in right now. So a couple good outs again there for silver, but watch out, man, as this wants to tick a little higher. It's just not trading as well, obviously, as we did there on Friday with it. But silver, we're still, I know I'm talking about the same names, but the TQs, like that was a missed opportunity, just not reversing into the long. But there that name goes, man. The only stock that we've lost on there today, early, right? Just early, we took some profit. It was nicely in the money, and then it just cooked us straight there to the upside. At least it cooked us right there. So now we'll wait to see how hard this one could be going to the upside right now. But the TQ's trying to make a move, as is silver. So yeah, we'll just sit on our hands right now. I've got the positions I want. Maybe looking at Palantir could be something. I think the only, I mean, silver's, I only have, so for me, I'm just silver and Tesla, both positive, TQ's negative. So yeah, I'll go 2 for 3 just on those two names. But Palantir, one of my other names, is not doing a whole heck of a lot there. So I don't know how you've been doing on IBIT, but that was another name that I was looking at.
It's 50-50 so far, but nothing big. Like, I mean, on Warner Brothers, like, you've done way better on it last week than this move. Again, it needs to follow through, and then I've been doing better on the long side than the short side, because I like the longs on it's a buyout. I like the long better than the short in a general sense. There's more security usually if you can find a good long trade, but that's neither here nor there. I actually think SLV or silver in general is still holding structure. It's just not, look, it's not as crazy as it was on Friday, but like the structure of it still looks pretty good. Like, it was choppy in the morning on Friday, and this is still pretty, solid floor. We just haven't really broken out any tops. So I'm going to continue to just buy the dip into it if we can. And throw up the super chat if you can, Andre. Just throw it up there before we get to the page. Zen Zombie, small cap eye on DKI, not moving, but a lot of volume. That was on the watch list. That was that Dark Icarus? Dark Iris. Icarus. Why do I have Icarus on my brain? Dark Iris. That was on the watch list this morning. They gapped up on earnings, but volume, again, you're right, volume's good. Here's the problem. I'm not a huge fan of things that lose the dollar level, especially when it does so like right away at the open. Like, the first move this stock made at the open was to lose a dollar and halt down, and now it's consolidating underneath the dollar. So unless you're, like, I know if Luis was on here, he'd be talking about it as such a good short, because it like immediately loses there, and then they shorted in front of the volume weighted average price. My guess is we don't even have locates of this. We don't. We'd have to pay for them. But yeah, when you immediately lose VWAP like that, that tends to be a bit of a bearish signal, I would think. But yeah, volume over 100 million shares is fine. Just doesn't look very strong. Danny's boy just proposed to the Kraft cheese heiress, fingers crossed. Well, I mean, can't hurt. You never really know. You got to shoot your shot, right?
Okay.
Certainly would allow you to get that cheese at a discount. I'll tell you that much.
What he's hoping
and then obviously that business would do much, much better, right?
Yeah, I would think so. You got to get the right input costs. Okay, so we got another out there on Tesla. Let's have a look at other things now. I'll do a little bit of work on IBIT for you guys. That's it, over, work done. Let's have a look at Coinbase here. It's just not moving, right? So Coinbase, again, this could be a trade. I mean, you're always going to be watching out to see what's happening there, but, you know, downside for them up to now you have VWAP, you have the 200, you have everything just lining up for Coinbase right now. So this is actually setting up to be a break long, in my opinion, because you can have this supporting 21 period sort of ranching upside right there. Trying to hold VWAP, trying to hold everything right now is Coinbase. So this could be, get down, silver, man. Break that 71, and oh boy, man, will we have a very, very big trade on there for silver today. But trying to, once again, sort of expand outside there on Coinbase. I like this hold. I like a hold of 187.50, honestly up to 190, like 189. 189.50 into this area. There it goes. So here we go. Here goes it. Okay, good call there on Coinbase, it looks like, as it's starting to get back up to the upside. Look, I'm not even looking at crypto. We're just looking at this chart here and this nice little uptick right now for Coinbase. So kind of just found that there. I mean, we didn't take it, but it just goes up about 70 cents on me talking about it. I wonder if our good friend Kathy Wood is watching the show again. No, Ant, I'm not buying it right now, but I do understand that maybe you just did on that move up there. But I like it. Bouncing off VWAP, bouncing right there. We'll see what winds up happening a little bit there with Coinbase. And I just keep on going back because honestly, man, this is the biggest notional position today on the show. SLV, maybe Tesla might have been actually. Tesla probably was notionally because of the price of it. But here we go, man. Nice move right now for Tesla. Nice move for silver. We're really doing quite well. We're actually at 2 times our daily goal, so maybe we should shut it down. But it's only 10:30, so starting to get a little bit out, starting to make me a little bit nervous about what's going on. Nice move up there for Coinbase as well. Nice move up for Tesla. Nice move down for silver. So, hey, everything's sort of panning out. Panning, you know, the gold panning, pretty good now. We'll wait to see. Another bid out for silver. Hopefully it collapses back in, man. But I don't know. Just keep getting out until something eventually happens. Hood down 9%.
And Amazon just took out the high of the day. Maybe someone does know something. But in the chat, people are speculating they like the earnings ahead of time. We still have some time. We got multiple days before we even get to Amazon's earnings, but it's partly the market just breaking out. So we are heading into the 247, which was last week's high, but super strong move. You're looking at what's strong in the Mag 7 here today before we go to Adara. Amazon, super strong. I just typed in Microsoft, and it didn't do anything. Microsoft, not so much. So softy still, they don't like. They just really are punishing these guys after earnings because they're still down in an upward market. Let's go look at some small caps with Adara.
I liked the pan pun there, Sean. Good one. I want to talk here about these small caps. FUSC, starting with Fuse Machines. Again, ticker for this one, FUSC, announcing a strategic partnership with Modulaire to bring Fuse Machines AI studios and related AI services to enterprise clients. So again, AI-related tie-up here for FUSE. Nice look for this one. Then we've got LUMN Lumen. Not only are they reporting earnings tomorrow, but they do have a catalyst today. It's worth noting slightly larger market cap here. Just under $10 billion market cap. They do have a 6.7% short float. And this morning, again, ahead of their earnings tomorrow after the bell, announcing they've completed the sale of their consumer fiber to the home business to AT&T. And last but not least here, USAR along with MP, TMC, CRML. A lot of these rare earth minerals plays on watch after Bloomberg reported that the U.S. administration under U.S. President Trump launching a $12 billion strategic mineral stockpile to counter China's dominance in this area. So again, metals plays including USAR, CRML, and MP. You also have FUSC and LUMN. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Back to you, the guys.
Lowering our offer here. Silver just absolutely hot dog. Silver just absolutely hot dog cannoned itself to the downside, man. And we just got a 70-60 fill. Down there, and we took some more profit as it was coming right back in, man. You just see the net sort of just starts to stack up, and you know, like it's like, okay, we'll have to take some profits out there. So we did take that out, and then of course it bounces right back up. Let's change our stop now. We're going to stop out at this 50 period. So that's 72.25. So $1 higher than this. Obviously, we can't turn this one into a loser now. So it still looks like Tesla will be P&L number one, but we'll still hold on to this 72. Let's just say a 72. Well, I mean, this is going to keep coming in, but let's just do what we're doing. 72.25. All right, so 72.25. I put 6 right there. And then if that comes back up to that upside, then we'll just trail out of the rest. But hey, man, let's get another bid out at 41s like that. And we'll let this one continue to go. So yeah, we're just, it's not really moving that much, but we'll take advantage of those moves. And we don't really have, this was against us, obviously, and then it ripped back up. So starting the trade down there at that 71 breaker, we kind of got FOMO because we had initially talked about this break right there at 72.50. Remember you guys all sort of in the chat earlier in the morning, you're like, wow, the real low is down here at 64s, but we liked that sort of pre-market area break. It happens right there. I must have been, I guess I was on Tesla and didn't even really notice it. We were talking about it as it was coming down, but I wasn't sure about it. Then all of a sudden it broke and I was like, okay, here we go again. But then it ripped back up, gave us the price that we needed. And right there, silver now doing its best job to keep me profitable today, and that's so far so good on the day. It's going to be a nice green day for sure. And part of that is obviously with these two trades, I only have 3 trades on. Let's see if Microsoft has rebounded at all today. Okay, a little bit. I mean, it's still down, but it's rebounded a little bit. It was 425 up to 428. This is another name where I'm just pretty loaded up right now. We've got the Noah's Ark of tech names in the account, and it's kind of like I'd rather just look elsewhere or buy indexes. So I don't think I'll be buying more Microsoft, really, no matter how far it goes down. But nice move there today to try to hold out on this 420 break, hopefully lower on, or hopefully higher on Microsoft, and hopefully that is the low bid there, 420 for MSFT. But yeah, see, so holding on to some silver here as it comes back in. And yeah, I'm just going to sound like a broken record. We're trading the same stuff and it just keeps on going. So there goes silver, nice downside play. Take another bid out at $71 there for ZSL. So I don't know, man, four bucks in the money on these two positions and pretty comfortable holding them.
Yeah, pretty comfortable right now, but I'm trying to get an answer for one of the viewers here, and it's Andrea, and hopefully maybe the community will be able to answer this one. I'm not for like that TCGL that was going nuts last week. Like, what's happening to it? I don't know. Maybe they've changed to another symbol or something along those lines, because it's not. We don't have it in the system today. It's not actually trading today. So again, I don't know. You could probably look it up, and I'll keep my ear to the ground if we see anything, or maybe Adair will be able to let you guys know. We didn't really trade this one anyways, but I know some people were kind of hammering this one, $10 to $330. But again, as I said, I don't have any particular idea what's going on with it. I just moved the reload. Well, sorry, I just canceled my reload to try to move it up here on ZSL, because look, we're still in the same range. It's just the pullback into prior high, and then back in the top, took another out, kind of waiting for it to get to the highs now to get out. And I'm going to look for the 60s. I was getting in the 50s last time. I'm going to look for the 60s on the dip buy, and then we'll just go back into that trade when we get the opportunity to. When it buys, just buy the dip and continue the trend up. And it's trend down in silver, but it's trend up in ZSL. As far as Intel goes, you still have a ton of strength in both Intel, AMD, and some of the other chip names, but you are getting into that top zone from Friday. 49.5 is the absolute high. The lower high is about 49. So I'd look for another trend break if we break this $0.50 on Intel. And even better if we can set up the trend break on the 15-minute chart. Then I'm going to like it just a little bit more. Dare, did you have an update on that stock?
No, I have nothing. Benzing is acting like it is no longer trading. No one on Google is mentioning why it's no longer trading. I have absolutely nothing to tell you. It's really weird, guys.
Yeah, hopefully no one swung that trade. I have no idea what happened to that stock. That's a weird one.
I apologize. I don't even know what I guess I'm up. But Tesla, we just got some more outs there at 420. Let's go have a look at the imbalance, stock visualizer rate here. So let's have a quick little look over here right now. Apple, so SNDK, wow, 662, man, another good one. Let's look at Robinhood, actually, just real quick. Silverman is just, like, we've got a big position, so we're covering on the way down, and it's breaking lower. So I feel like, again, a little bit flush just because of sort of the success of that trade. But okay, so let's go over to Hood right now. So Robinhood again, great bottom at $90, man. I mean, what a good look there. You know, was there something that maybe we could have looked at from Robinhood in and around 90 that gave us that kind of a confidence, right? If you go back here, wow, all the way back, Joey, into the summer months right now for Robinhood. So if you don't take that profit right now, you've been sitting on your hands for 7 months, well, you can average back in, because there's a nice long move back to the downside, right? And what I mean by that is it's taken a while to get there. This was 155 high, and just many stocks going up and going down, but Robinhood, wow. Yes, Neil. Holy shit, man, I hope you're crushing this, because there goes silver right down into 70 again. Forget about Robinhood. Here we go. There's silver. Nice move down. We got to take some pieces off, man. That's $70 flat now for SLV. We're now $6 in the money, both Tesla and silver combined. Here we go. It's a monster move to the downside for SLV. We are share size appropriate. I mean, we never have enough, but we still have a good amount right now. We have about 20 to 25% left on this position, and there it goes right now into the downside. Look, even on this trade, I've only made a third of what we made there on Friday, but still a really good one. Nice move to the downside here on silver. Capture that profit. take it again, put another bid out there. Let's wait to see how far this goes down. But again, a trade mentioned, the #1 trade idea. Yes, let's go, Neil. Good trade on ZSL, great trade on SLV as we continue to pump lower.
I'm out at high a day.
Yeah, sorry about that, but here it goes.
Sorry, 5 days in a row.
No, great job.
5 days green on silver, and it's been taking one trade. It's just one idea, the breakout above the prior high or a trend break.
Yes.
So I've just essentially gone station to station, and it has not lost yet. So 5 times out of 5, I'll take it. But the next trade to me is going to be a trend break. Like, there was obviously a trend break on Friday, but this trend break, just for everyone out there, this trend break on ZSL was not silver breaking the trend. It was ZSL breaking the trend on its own. And I wouldn't expect something this extreme to happen unless I might look at the same time of day. It was about 120. Actually, it was exactly 124. I'm not saying about 124. It was right about 124, 125 when that happened in the afternoon. So if it does break trend, I'm more of a dip buyer on any kind of a downtrend that I want to take the short, right? So this is going to be an inverse. But again, I've really only just taken like one theme, and it was kind of the breakout of that prior high. WBD sort of doing its thing, but it still hasn't followed all the way through to the low of the day, which is, I don't know, it's not disappointing. It's just I would like to see this down into the 27.5, 27.4 range and then start looking for reversal long, because I'll play that in both directions as well. Yatube saying ETH is up 5. No.
Nice job, Yatube.
5%?
Yahoo.
Oh, you've got 5% on ETH. Because I was about to say, I'm like, from the lows, this hasn't really moved that much here, but it is trending to the upside. It's still obviously gap down for sure. I still think BMNR, and I said if it filled in the entirety of the gap, I would look for some kind of reversion.
Come on.
Yeah, that's like $1 away. BMNR is still $1 from filling in that gap, so we're still a ways away from that trade really following through for and giving me a short opportunity in BMNR. Good recovery so far in crypto, but if you kind of take a step back and zoom out and look at how far we've come back, and the Bitcoin's at 78.7, you know, what's ETH at? 27.2? Well, sorry, 23.7? Yeah, like we haven't really pulled all that far back to the upside. I still think it's still relatively weak as far as I'm concerned. Just gonna have to pick our spots looking for that short.
All right. Yeah, like whatever you guys want to do, put some stuff in the chat there and let us know what you guys want to talk about, and we will get all over that. But yeah, wow, what a day, what a move. What about Uber right here as well? So Uber, okay, bouncing off 80, so that's not too bad. I wanted to have a quick little look at that. Saw that it was, you know, upside, taking out day's high right now for Uber, and obviously talk with robo-taxis and everything has really hit this stock, and it's not been performing well, man. It's bounced off its 50-period moving average a couple times. Boom, boom, boom. Downside actions here happening for Uber. So just be very, very careful and see where that one winds up going now. UBER. Hopefully it continues to make a move back upside and hold out for this $78. But right now, Uber just yuck. Downside, that is for sure. Yeah, there is... was it Life? There's some sort of there's a few different on Ethos's Life. There's a few IPOs
this week?
Day, or yeah, this week. There's
not
good
today, but
there's
like
ones
later.
bigger than last week that are coming through. One that's bigger than York.
It's Forgent Power Solutions, FPS.
Yeah, no, there's another one that's bigger. There's the one later on this week that's bigger than all that.
That's
okay, SNDK. Yeah, there's one that's almost 5 billion, I think. SNDK. We just had that. I was at 660, so that had a nice move, and I just wanted to look back to see what the high was there on Friday, because we had gotten close. Yeah.
Right, 679-ish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 670. Yeah, I guess that little tick there, right at 930. As soon as we opened up, yeah, there it is, 677. Back into this basically between like 670 to 680 kind of area, right into there, and then we got right back to that today. Right, and so like, wow, what a move. That was 540, then in one day it's back to 660. That is wild right there on SNDK. So there it goes. Zen Zombie with the super chat says he wants to talk about Fuse. So Adara, what's the news on Fuse right here? Fuse machines.
AI modulator deal with basically allowing Fuse to have their AI services connect with enterprise customers through modular. This actually was featured in our small cap recap at 10:20.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so there it goes, man. Fuse, thanks to Dara, all over that one as that continues to go a little higher. Just 113 million shares today. So good job on Fuse as that continues to make some moves. And yeah, just looking to see if it can hold VWAP. That's 274 down to 220. I mean, 220 is a 200 period. We really like that one. And then there's a bunch of sort of consolidation levels right there. So this is potentially a great little level for Fuse as well. But yeah, good job there, and we'll just wait to see what is exactly going on there with Fuse. Not too many like instant like stories here this morning, so yeah, we'll just have to wait and see if this market wants to do something. I mean, XOM was pulling back.
Yeah, nothing out of the ether.
No, just big trades on Tesla, silver. You're going 5 for 5 there. Congratulations. 5 days in a row, 5 for 5. Follow Neil's trades on silver, guys. And then, yeah, so we're still holding on. But yeah, Tesla right there, $5 now. Look what Tesla's doing. Oh, my God. As this one just literally doing everything today. Just $5 in the money on Tesla, $2 in the money on silver. Man, we're $7 right now in the money on these two trades that we've been holding for you all day and discussing them. So hopefully you're able to follow some of this, and it's a big, it's a really big green day, and we're really happy to do that for you guys one more time here. So market's blasting, P&L's blasting. Hopefully you guys are blasting those likes and those subscribes as well. We have Joey Options and Sharif coming through for you very, very soon. So if you're bored of us, you got more guys coming through very, very soon, and that should be a lot of fun. So get ready for that. I'll take another bid here on SLV, but 70.55 coming in right there, and yeah, good one. Let's just see. We're getting lighter and lighter on all this.
Yeah, well, getting lighter and lighter for sure, but the market isn't really showing signs of slowing down yet. This is the Nasdaq here. I'm hunting for another trade in Intel, just waiting for the reversion, and it'll be first pullback was here, so there's support, there's support, there's support. So there's now 3 lines on the trend break. So if it breaks trend again, look for the trend break back into VWAP. But the Nasdaq's trying to crack that high as we speak. So there's your 15-minute on the NQ, and we're also right at Friday's tops. So Friday's high also going to be today's high. So I think you get a little bit of resistance. That'd be good timing for reversion. Just doesn't mean it has to happen, right? Like we're at a resistance point. It doesn't mean you're going to turn around, but there is that possibility for sure. And Microsoft, I don't know why. It tried to go, like Microsoft was one of the weakest Mag 7 names, and then it tried to go, completely rejected the top again. It still feels like this one's in the penalty box after earnings. You just can't seem to get going, unfortunately, for soft. We already showed you guys Amazon strong. Apple's up a couple of points today. So, yeah. I mean, Apple's now, it's not through the highs from the overnight when we showed you guys, what did we stall at, 267, 268 on the aftermarket show. But it looks like we're going to get there. So again, you just wait. Usually it's a couple of days, but Apple was wait 1 day and buy the dip. Microsoft, you're still waiting for a good reason to buy the dip on that stock. And I can't come up with one just yet for Softy. I think we'll have to see the comparison when we get like Amazon and Alphabet, more importantly Alphabet. Maybe we'll see a little more action on Microsoft if Alphabet can maybe give a bottom to the group. ZLS, just looking to see if it holds this trend. We're pulling back off of that double top from Friday, but the double top also here as we might actually break the trend line. If we break this trend, I'm waiting for the volume weighted average price to get back in again. Again, I'm not trying to go in the other direction unless it goes parabolic down. Let's go up to Adara, see how the rest of the sectors are doing. Specifically, actually, I'm curious how oil will be doing because they were down a bit.
It's actually a pretty mixed look here, guys, but I will start with oil. As Neil mentioned there, energy minerals is going to be to the downside. We know that oil was in watch here, as U.S. President Donald Trump reportedly indicated. Could be some talks with Iran. Iran has been, of course, a source of geopolitical tensions as of late. So interesting look there for oil. Utilities are going to be weak here as well. Industrial services to the downside. Consumer durables to the downside, led by TSLA. Health technology strong. Producer manufacturing quite strong. Caterpillar and LRCX both on day 3 earnings, both to the upside. Finance here being led by Visa. This is a day 2 earnings play. Retail trade to the upside, as mentioned, AMZN will be reporting after the bell on Thursday. Tech services and electronic technology do get a little bit more mixed than a lot of these other sectors where you generally have sectoral trends. Electronic tech mostly to the upside. AMD and Micron and INTC all strongly trading higher here, but Nvidia down by about 1% amid some confusion over its OpenAI investment. Then you get tech services, where you've got Microsoft and Meta, two of the three Mag 7s within the sector to the downside, though Google is to the upside, Palantir and Oracle stronger as well, along with ServiceNow, guys. So overall, mixed look in tech, but generally a lot of these sectors trading in tandem together. Back to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Adair. Oh, wait a minute. We got a key for that. What are we even doing if I can even get it?
Thank you very much, Dara.
Why not have the president say it? For sure. JC Money. Okay, I get it. I say ZSL. We're Canadian. Sometimes I say Z if I'm doing the rhyme, but
I would say ZSL there.
I say I'll say ZSL. If I'm literally singing the alphabet song, I'll say Z. But now ZSL is just an easy word. Like ZSL is just it's weird to me to even say it. So I understand most of our viewers are American, but it's not like you guys are confused. You know exactly what we're talking about, so it's all good. But I do want to jump back if we can. Circle's finding a little bit of life, which usually means if we're looking at what was the worst this morning, it was Robinhood, still down actually almost 8%, so I guess it's not doing that well. And Circle, both of those catching a little bit of a bid to the upside. But I'm still going to be watching for that BMNR. Yeah, it's starting to stall out. I thought maybe we're taking another leg higher and we'd get back in and close that gap into Friday's lows, but we're not close yet. So it still feels like Intel on a trend break will be the next thing. Just want to double check AMD. Yeah, AMD profiling almost exactly the same as Intel is. Might be up 5%, which is more than Intel. Actually, no. Yeah, just a little bit more than Intel, but the charts are almost the same. So it's possible. I'm looking trend break in Intel, but it's possible AMD could do the same thing, which I know a lot of you guys are watching at the same time. Zen Zombie. Fuse trying to break $3. You're in at $2.76, you say. Hit the like on that one. Fuse, which I know, Sean, you were just talking about, and Adair went over as a small cap runner. There haven't been too many that have been, I guess, profiling, above the volume weighted average price, doing good volume, trending up. So Fuse does stand out for sure. Just try to remember, this one does have some pretty obvious levels coming in. It doesn't have a lot of history to it, so just underneath the $4 level, and then like the $3 lower high that it's at. These are significant kind of bag holder levels for the stock. And a lot of times you get there, you're going to see some sell action that you have to wait, kind of wait through and be patient.
All right. Yeah, just trying to be as patient as we can be as well with all these tradings today, right? We only have 15 minutes left. We'll go over what's for lunch, but we've been eating up this market today pretty good as Tesla, we just got our fill at 422. So that is along at 416. So right there, that's $6 as that keeps on going back up to the other side there on Tesla. So I'm just waiting for that one. And then, of course, silver, as I said already, this name. I keep on changing my stop, but I'm just wondering now, I guess we should just keep on doing what we've been saying doing and being disciplined. Like we said, we really sort of banking ourselves on discipline, right? I mean, you can't, if you don't have a trade idea and you don't execute against it, then you can't know how to repeat yourself. And so that's the key to, using more shares, gaining that confidence is like your rules are being followed and they're working. The minute you break them, either way, it's not a great sign. So, let's just stay in there. I mean, it's how Neil has gone 5 days in a row being up on silver, follow the rules and do the right thing as much as you possibly can. So even on this is what we're doing. I'm going to wait for this 71, basically a 71 break. We'll put that order in now, and on this move down, I got to, again, try to follow the rules. We just touched the low of the day again on silver there, so we're going to try to, get another piece out right there at 70. But let's put that stop in. We'll cancel our old stop, and let's go to 71.11s or so, because we'll just take that fill out there. We'll get some out at 71.11, and here we go, collapsing back in. We're at the highest P&L spot we've been at all day now. Thank you, obviously in part to the short that we have there on silver. Your number one trade idea, and we keep saying that, but it's like this is what you have to do is stick to what you're doing. And I mean, this is what we're doing. We're putting out ideas and we're trying to stick with them. So there's Tesla right here on our morning note, right? So sorry, SLV there. And then the TQs was a 54 short. We are out of that stat. So which allows us to be where we are. If we keep on averaging in and getting smoked on that trade, then it's a bad deal, right? But nicely cooking here. Now back into the day's low. Yes, what a hold there on silver as we start to fall back in. I still have about 10%, a little bit more than that back on, and silver still doing its own thing. But this is what I'm talking about being disciplined and having the ability to just say you're wrong. There it is, out. You know, as soon as we broke 54, we gave it to 54.10s. It broke higher, and then we're out of that. So like, if we're still in it, then basically we have a flat day, but we're not, and we go back over to a brand new name that's just hitting lows of the day right now. That is SLV. So look, it keeps on bouncing off these lows, and we put another bid there at 85. We get that immediately. Wow, we are really starting to P&L up right now, man. So that's a good one. The cash cow is here today on ZSL and on SLV, but realistically, I've actually made more money on Tesla, but this silver trade is still a huge one, and we'll see if we can get a little lower. All right, Adara, 1047, what you got for us?
I have news on Novo Nordisk. Novo Nordisk announcing the latest results for its CagriSema, and usually when they announce results for this drug, the market does not really like it. Announcing that there was apparently 14.2% weight loss here in type 2 diabetes trial for CagriSema, superior on both HbA1c and weight versus individual components, and the profile seen as safe and well tolerated. Now, again, none of this sounds bad, but CagriSema generally just has not been well received, again, as I mentioned earlier, when we get these updates. So CagriSema, which is like a compound weight loss drug here from NVO, causing a little bit of a drop in the stock, at least temporarily. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Derek. Remember, Eli Lilly reports this week. It's a big week for earnings. 20% of the S&P 500 reports this week. Obviously, starting with Palantir tonight. I think they're the only, they might be the only S&P 500. There's probably at least a couple of others, and AMD tomorrow, and then we get Eli Lilly is going to be next, and obviously we talked about Alphabet, and we talked about Amazon, going to be some big ones throughout the week. And you have us, and the best thing about it, it does mean that the aftermarket show to cover all of these earnings is pretty much every day except for Friday this week. So we'll be on at 4 o'clock to cover Palantir tonight, then back on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for all of your earnings needs. Again, just make sure you stick around tonight. You don't have to do anything. You just stick around for the afternoon, and then you're going to be good to go. And it'll be all four of us covering the entirety of the week. All right, Intel broke the trend, so I'm back into the trade. Is what it is, and we'll give it to the prior bar high because that's the standard practice.
All right, what's up, Tyree on air there? Sean, you have the Midas touch. Ting. When it comes to precious metals there, the Tin Man. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Yeah, like I said, I mean, hopefully you guys are trying to follow some of this as there goes SLV right down into the bottom. But I got to go find it out because we're getting on. And thank you so much for all of that. I mean, it is what it is, right? Silver's been moving, and we knew silver would have a big day today. I was actually didn't even really have Tesla on the watch, and Tesla's the one. Silver, we nailed it on Friday. We're nailing it again today, so sort of as it goes there. And yeah, don't worry, guys. Thankfully, well, it should not be tilapia today. We did have it last week, but today, ooh, it's Greek flags. These guys never really disappoint. Oh man, wow, what a downside. I mean, this silver is really starting to crack lower and lower and lower. I'm going to have to put out another bid right there. Hopefully we get these 21s, and then boom goes the dynamite there. We'll see if we can do that. But wow, what a move down for SLV, and we've got in again the number one idea today: souvlaki grilled chicken. I mean, whenever we have Greek food, it's always some sort of a chicken thing right there with roasted vegetables, lemon roasted potatoes. That's a little Greek as well, with mixed green salad, not Greek salad.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so nice day today and tomorrow. We got lunch all week, and then do we have any? Oh no, it's Canada has Family Day coming up. We don't have.
Yeah, it is a holiday. It's
we have a holiday here too. MLK? No.
No, Canada. Well, sorry, the Family Day is the same as President's Day.
Oh, President's Day.
Yeah.
Okay, what day is that? It's coming
whatever
up.
Is it 2 weeks? I thought it was 2 weeks.
It's coming up.
2 weeks today, I think. When's
Tilapia
President's Day?
Suzuki.
2 weeks today.
Yeah, 2 weeks today. Okay, good. You have a couple Mondays coming off there. Good. Need some sleep, man. Don't get much sleep around my house. That is for sure. Okay, Adara, it's 10:50. Let's go talk about money talks.
Fun fact, we don't actually have Family Day in Manitoba, so shout out to that. Let's talk here, though, about this U.S. dollar, because this is now a 4-day green streak for the DXY. We know some of this negativity, which began when we heard some rumors or reporting essentially that there could be some Japanese yen intervention with the help of the U.S. Fed or Treasury. That was denied. Once that gets denied midweek last week, we start to see this reversal in the dollar. So nice look here for the DXY. Bank of America weighing in what we could expect here from incoming Fed chair, at least Fed chair nominee here, Kevin Warsh. BOA saying that Kevin Warsh is very unlikely to bring any rapid policy shifts during his time with the Fed, though he could potentially push for a smaller, shorter duration balance sheet, because we know that that's something that he has advocated for in the past. They do think that near-term rate cuts are very likely to be supported, even though there has been a lot of speculation based on his past comments and decisions that Kevin Warsh is a little bit more hawkish. Furthermore, internal resistance will make any changes gradual rather than transformative. So even if Warsh did want to make these massive changes, B of A thinks that it's pretty unlikely he would be able to do so. We did get some economic data earlier today. S&P manufacturing PMI 52.4, above estimates of 52. Then ISM manufacturing PMI 52.6, well above estimates of 48.5. Now, tomorrow we are going to get some more economic data on watch, chiefly the JOLTS job openings at 10 a.m. Eastern. We are expecting a little bit of an uptick here. Forecast 7.25 million versus the prior print of 7.146 million. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. Only about 7 minutes to go, but the content revolver had a good question. I'm going to throw it up here because I think it's pretty. Everyone always asks, like a lot of times, it's like, well, where did you come up with this level, this or that? So we don't mind going over it. CRML, an article mentioned that you were reading, lots of call options at 15 and 15.5 strikes, confirming the level of $15. Can you walk through how the level was critical? And it's pretty simple. Like the first thing, I always look at the higher time frames, but I don't get to the 15-minute. Like I'll usually start with a daily or weekly. If it's an investment, I'll probably look at it weekly or monthly first. But on the day trade, I'm always looking at the daily chart first, and then I'll slide to the 15-minute. Well, on Friday, rejected $15. On Thursday, initial move down, and that first opening candle, a lot of times there's so much volatility in the open market. I want to see what happens right after it. And right after that, you rejected 15. And then in the afternoon, you rejected 15. So it was a pretty clear triple top at the $15 level. Unfortunately, I was looking long into it, so it was just like a $14.50 break into 15, and that's all it could do. If you're looking short, obviously that would have been better, because you could have just shorted this level that never breaks to 15, and then it goes like $1 instead of trying to catch like 50 pennies. But that's where the level came from. Again, just I find when in doubt, zoom out for key levels. And obviously 15, like almost any small cap stock, $10 and $15 are going to usually be pretty big levels. $5, like little things like that will make a lot of sense. All right, so that reversion on Intel starting to come back in. I'm taking another leg out in front of 48.3. And then we have a couple of legs to get down into the volume weighted average price here. So second time's the charm. I did have a keystroke on this. I was actually putting an order in 47.5 and put it in at 46.5, got in and out. But we've tried the second time for a trend break on Intel. This one up 4 1/3% for Intel. The stock doesn't move small anymore. It's Nvidia that doesn't want to move these days. You know, the volatility is going to be in Intel and AMD. Another super chat from Control Alt Escape. Another day in the JPM trade. You're a happy fella. Yes. Still like those banks, except for SoFi right now.
I actually like SoFi more right now than I ever have, just because of the price to the downside. Okay, so silver right now, you know, we've been covering on this way down. Like, we have $9 in the money. We're $6 in the money on Tesla, and that's still the trade from the open. This is actually going to be, well, they're both almost exactly the same. right now. So I don't really know what to do with this trade, but I'm just going to hold it, see if we can do it. I'm still going to try to respect my own rules here. So break of 420 on Tesla, we'll get out. I mean, this is $6 in the money, and we had about a $2 worth of stop. So I think it's definitely worked out for us. So we'll stop out of this one if it does break through the 50-period moving average on a longer movement there. So 419.9, let's just go 419.99, right? If it breaks it, then we're out. And this stop order will work perfectly fine. We do have the same kind of a feels now, although we are pretty light. I'm not even sure how many shares we had to begin with anymore on SLV, but doesn't really matter. The trade that we have left, I'm still going to try to use the 50-period moving average. We haven't broke that at all today since this move had sort of happened to the downside. So, you know, we always were marking down silver as a short. So, yeah, what's up, Danny Dollars? Yeah, I know it's crashing. This is why I'm telling you guys that I'm still in this. And I don't know if it's crashing or not, but it seems like it, down 8% right there for SLV. So another big move happening for silver. In my own portfolio, I'll probably go in and buy some gold at some point again, just average up into this trade. Even though it's making a move down, we'll still see if that can hold some of these bids. Once this gets into that 50-period moving average again, which would be it's pretty much trying to get right there right now, 403, 404 or so. That would be a good little dip buy opportunity, I think, for GLD. These were it got over there overnight. These are dark pool wicks that let us know where we printed a little bit overnight. So 405 and change, maybe we can get to that. And oh boy, there it goes, man. All the way to the downside goes silver now making new day's lows here, you know, since we started charting it. I know it went lower there around 1 or 2 a.m., but here comes the move back in for SLV, and just a good one today, and not much to talk about other than that. Our Tesla may come out, and again, I have like less than 5% left of this trade. Our target was hit right there. Like, we got our 200 period, and then we got 422s. So like, targets hit on that, and we just work off of that there. The other trade that we had today, as written down on our note, is Palantir. And that kind of just kept on cruising upside. Yeah, not much going on right here for PLTR as the move looks to be a little extended ahead of earnings. Join us tonight at 4 p.m. and we'll stay a little late, and we'll figure out what's going on with PLTR and move forward with that. So yeah, good earnings. Here comes Tesla. We will get out of that one. It will be, for now, P&L 1 for me on TSLA. Here comes. So break of 420, we'll get out of our last 3%, and then we'll just move on off of that one. So yeah, man, silver just keeps on crashing. Great call. I know Neil had this as well, so good call for everybody there today. And yeah, what's up? You can put the super chat up if you want.
This might not be what you want to hear. How are we feeling about Ford and Lucid? You're still holding? Well, Ford, I don't have strong opinions on Ford, to be honest. I just kind of feel like that's been following GM a little bit, so that's pretty reasonable. Lucid, if you're holding along, I'm not sure off of what. I guess it bounced off the 200-period moving average, but like, I don't care too much about that. Like, I think realistically, you reverse split, you broke the low, and you haven't broken trend back to the upside. So until this breaks the trend, I want no part of Lucid, because a lot of times it's the easiest short in the world to just wait for something to reverse split and then just short the way up. So I don't really see anything interesting in Lucid till maybe breaking above the $12 level, and then you get some momentum behind you. And as far as Ford goes, it's been a nice trend up. I would just prefer GM. Like, I think the 50 period's been telling you the whole story. It just continuously bounces off the 50 period simple moving average on the daily. As long as that trend holds, great. I think it kind of gives you an obvious place to get out when it loses that trend. So if it loses the 50 period, I'd probably jump out if I had it, but I'm not in this one. I used to own shares of GM. I don't anymore. And I feel like that's just it's been a little bit better. But either one of these loses the 50 period and they both go, would be my opinion. But yeah, I would just respect that trend line as far as it wants to go. And I know it's 11 o'clock, but we haven't talked too much about GameStop. It's now up 7%. It's trying to break the high again. It's just been consolidating up here. It dipped once into the volume weighted average price. That's a fail you had to be watching the stock, which Wasn't on the top list of stocks to be watching. It was like 5th or 6th for me, but it does bounce nicely off VWAP. Maybe it does that again for another opportunity out there. We're gonna hopefully enjoy some Greek food with not a Greek salad and send you guys to the midday. It is the Professor and Joey Options.